was in there.
The manatee is recovering at SeaWorld, where Mallory McCormack says he has a few cuts.
Other than that, he seems to be eating, which is a great sign, and we're very hopeful for him.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The International Skating Union has some strict dress code rules for Olympic figure skaters. The ladies aren't allowed to wear anything too sheer. Judges can deduct points if their costume gives the effect of excessive nudity or if they have a wardrobe malfunction. For the men, pants are mandatory. And for both, no dangling crystals, fringe, or beads because they can fall off and be a safety hazard. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
And good afternoon, 5:05, and outside of our Davis & Davis studios here in Uniontown on this Tuesday, a beautiful day, well above freezing, 58 right now with sun, with the low tonight down to freezing at 32, but still much warmer than it has been, and we'll get to more of the weather watch and sports in just a bit. Good afternoon, I'm Nick Barczyk, Davis & Davis, attorneys at law, voted Fayette County's best law firm 2025. State police are investigating a shooting in Uniontown early this morning. It happened in the area of Cool Spring Street in the city around 2:10 this morning. The investigation is ongoing and no further information has been released. Also, a shooting in Fayette County being investigated in the city of Connellsville. Details remain limited on that shooting last night in Connellsville. Fayette County dispatchers say police responded to the scene in the 200 block of Lincoln Avenue shortly before 10:30 p.m. Monday. A male victim was taken to a local hospital in a private vehicle. Officials say there was no word on how old he is or how severely he was injured. Authorities have not said how the shooting happened or whether any arrests have been made. Governor Shapiro is looking to offer more financial support for the 211 helpline in Pennsylvania. Lieutenant Governor Davis visited a United Way office in southwest Pennsylvania this week to highlight an increase in funding for the service in the governor's latest budget proposal. State money for 211 would go up from $750,000 annually to $1 million under the governor's plan. The helpline is run by the United Way and is open at all hours every day of the year to help connect people to resources like temporary housing and also job and career training opportunities. The Plan Thompson's Crossing mixed-use development in North Union Township, Fayette County, has received $7 million in federal infrastructure funding through the recently signed federal appropriations bill, moving that project closer to construction. The nearly 60-acre site is expected to include retail, office, and residential space and is seen by local officials as a significant economic boost that will help meet housing needs and expand the county's tax base. The Herald Standard reports that the federal dollars will be combined with state money and a county loan to build essential infrastructure like roads, water, sewer, and broadband, with construction expected to begin this year. And Valentine's Day is Saturday, and the Pennsylvania Department of Commerce and Consumer and Business Services is warning about romance scams. The scammers lead the victims into fake romantic relationships online and then convince them to invest money into fraudulent accounts. The Federal Trade Commission reported more than $12 billion in scam-related losses around America in 2024. Before investing money, they say to research the investment to make sure it's legitimate. And do you feel safe on Pennsylvania streets and highways, and what could be better? PennDOT is asking for your input with a new online survey available now through the end of February. The survey will help the governor's administration improve traffic safety and direct grant money towards programs. About $30 million is invested from federal grant funds around the state in initiatives that are aimed at preventing accidents, deaths, and injuries every year on the road. The survey can be found online at pa.gov/safety. And new research is suggesting daily consumption of caffeinated coffee and tea could lower your risk of dementia and Alzheimer's.
A long-term observational study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found 2 to 3 cups of caffeinated coffee or 1 to 2 cups of tea was associated with lowering dementia risk, slowing cognitive decline, and preserving cognitive function. Researchers also determined that about 300 milligrams of caffeine is the optimal daily amount. While the study's authors did say the results are really reassuring, they also noted that they are not recommending for people who don't drink coffee to start drinking it. I'm Mark Mayfield.
More next on WMPS.
Hey everyone, this is Josh Krysak here letting you know that it's not too late to purchase a shed, carport, or building due to the cold weather that's upon us. Ron from Ultimate Structures will explain.
Here at Ultimate Structures, we go full-time, year-round to service our customers. Don't let the cold weather discourage you from purchasing the storage building for your needs. Our manufacturers and installation crews keep chugging through the cold weather. There may be minor delays due to snow and ice, but you can be assured every attempt will be made to get your building up and ready to protect your valuables.
That is great news to hear, Ron. Our listeners can still purchase a shed, carport, garage, or building to fit their needs.
Customers can call me anytime to discuss their needs at 724-557-3281. That's 724-557-3281. We can sit down and design what you desire. Come out to our mega lot to view models to fulfill your dreams. We are Ultimate Structures, satisfying Fayette County customers since 2007.
And in sports, we have basketball tonight from the Pete. Duke taking on Pitt on the air at 8:30 with the pregame game at 9 on WMBS. And we will get you the weather watch in just a bit. Actually, we'll squeeze it in now before the Olympic update. Sunny and 58, overnight low 32, 36 on Wednesday, Thursday at 32 and up to 38 on Friday. And this is WMBS.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
And now we go out to Italy for an Olympic update.
This 2026 Winter Olympics update is brought to you by Sandy Howell Notary Services, Fayette County's 3-time gold medal winning notary service. They stay open late to serve you. Call 724-564-8955.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. The day is done in Italy. It was a good one for the United States. 5 medals were won, 3 silvers, 2 bronzes, a stunning rout in women's hockey, and the figure skating star, Ilya Malinin, seems on his way to a gold medal after today's short program. He has the lead. The free skate is Friday. That hockey game was a 5-0 U.S. rout of Canada. The game fairly meaningless, but still shocking, although the U.S. played Canada in 4 exhibition games this past fall and won all 4 by a combined score of 24-7. Medal winners today included Alex Hall in freestyle skiing. He won silver. He won bronze 4 years ago. Ben Ogden, a surprising silver in cross-country skiing. Ashley Farquharson in the luge women's singles. Jackie Wiles and Paula Molson in alpine skiing. And the curling team won silver. John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
When you need notary services, trust the best. Sandy Howell Notary Services, back-to-back gold medal winner for Best Notary in Fayette County. They're here for you with extended hours to fit your schedule. Sandy Howell's also the 2025 gold medal winner for Best Title Company. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 8:30, and Saturdays, 9 to 5. Call 724-564-8955 today for Sandy Howell Notary Services, where excellence is signed and sealed. This 2026 Winter Olympics update was brought to you by Sandy Howell Notary Service, owned by Ed and Sandy Walensky. For gold medal notary service you can count on, go to Sandy Howell Notary Services, 158 Dry Knob Road in Smithfield.
Good evening. This is Chris Policki of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 52.3 points, closing at 50,188. The NASDAQ Composite was down at 136.2 points, closing at 23,102. And the S&P 500 Index was down at 23 points, closing at 6,942. Among companies of local interest, Apple, $273.68, down 94 cents. Amazon, $206.90, down $1.82. Cisco, $86.26, down 51 cents. Boeing, $242.52, down $2.19. Caterpillar, $741.94, down 18 cents. Disney, $109.97, up $2.85. ExxonMobil, $151.56, up 35 cents. First Energy, $47.65, up 83 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $238.33, down 31 cents. Home Depot, $389.64, up $8.64. Intel, $47.13, down $3.11. McDonald's, $325.96, up 36 cents. Meta Platforms, $670.72, down $6.50. PNC Financial Services, $240.32, down 63 cents. Raytheon Technologies, $195.16, down $1.03. Rockwell Automation, $412.60, up $1.94. Tesla, $425.21, up $7.89. Verizon, $47.40, up 38 cents. And Walmart, $126.70, down $2.32. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 52.3 points, closing at 50,188. The Nasdaq Composite was down 136.2 points, closing at 23,102. And the S&P 500 Index was down 23 points, closing at 6,942. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all your investment needs. This is Chris Fullick.
Think about the last time you thanked yourself for something. Maybe it was that me time you took last Tuesday, or finally learning Italian. Want to do something you'll really thank yourself for later? Start creating a plan for your financial goals today. State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson is right here in Uniontown to help you look at the things you want to save for and build a plan to set you up for success. The earlier you start planning, the better off you will be. Call State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson today and thank yourself later. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Looking for a fireplace? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is more than your plumbing supply store. We specialize in fireplaces of all fuel types, such as gas, wood, pellet, and electric. We're now featuring Harmon pellet stoves from Forge and Flame, perfect for keeping your family warm and cozy. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com to start planning for the winter season. Koval Building Supply, everything you need to make your house feel like home.
Look and you'll see there's a whole new Ford for you and me. It's time.
February is Auto Show time at Thurby's Riverside Ford. That means special financing and Auto Show bonus cash on new Ford SUVs and trucks. Have you been thinking about a new 2025 Ford F-150 four-wheel drive XLT? Take advantage of 3.9% for 72 months plus $2,000 in Auto Show bonus cash during the Auto Show month. Now that's an Auto Show deal.
How about this? All new 2026 Ford Escapes come with $2,500 in Ford factory rebates. And the showstopper, the 2025 Bronco Sport Big Bend and Outer Banks with 2.9% financing and $2,000 in Ford factory rebates during Auto Show month. We have the inventory in stock and on the way.
Thurby's Riverside Ford, your presidential award-winning dealer, located on Route 40, 1 mile past the casino at Nemacolin. See Joey, Jimmy, Sammy, or Ashley. Offer ends March 2nd, 2026.
It's not just another sale, it is the February floor sample clearance at Chesler's Fine Furniture, located on Route 51 in Uniontown. There are no gimmicks involved, just great values on beautiful home fashions for every room in your house. You'll find items such as genuine Lazy Boy rocker recliners for just $429, solid oak 5-piece dinettes featuring Formica tops for $13.99. If you prefer all wood sets, they start at just $5.99. For the family room, sofas start at only $4.99 with love seats and chairs to match. Chaise sofas for relaxing comfort are priced at $6.29 and up. Chesler's has top grain leather sofas, love seats, chairs, and sectionals in stationary and reclining in stock from Lazy Boy, Best Home Furnishing, and Craftmaster. Entertainment centers are sale priced from $159. Those with an electric fireplace start at $399. Every piece of bedroom furniture, every piece of living room and dining room furniture, every piece of furniture at Chesler's will be on sale. Credit terms and delivery are available with 90 days same as cash.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk. Boy, Nick, we got the extended version of the Afternoon Drive Show today. Usually till 7. Tonight we're going to 8:30. We have basketball. I have a home game tonight. Who are they playing? I forget.
It's a home game at 9 o'clock. The network wanted to put a Pittsburgh game at 9. They're playing Duke.
Duke.
Yes, the big school Duke. And good luck to the Panthers.
Not Duquesne, but Duke.
No, the Duke Blue Devils, yes. One of the best programs in the history of college basketball.
And the first number they ever retired from a Duke basketball player, Nick, at Duke was whom?
Dick Groat.
Here we go, Dick Groat, the great Dick Groat.
Dick Groat, who is the MVP of the National League and Major League Baseball, but everyone thought, and he admitted he was much better at basketball. That's what a great athlete Dick Groat was.
And when was he MVP? 1960, for heaven's sakes.
That's right.
Yeah.
The year they won the World Series.
World Series.
With that famous home run from, who was the guy who hit the home run in the seventh inning who always said he got overshadowed by Mazeroski's home run?
I forget.
Was it Hal Smith?
I forget.
Something like that.
Yeah, you're going to get overshadowed by the guy who won the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
He had a 3-run homer in the seventh and made the score. I think he tied it at 9.
And they had such dumb rules back then. The MVP had to be for the whole World Series had to be picked like by the 7th inning.
Right. So they went with Bobby Richardson, who lost.
He lost. And
but I was afraid on Sunday they'd have to give the MVP of the Super Bowl to the kicker, the way that game was going.
the way the game was going.
But they gave it to a running back, which is awesome. Hasn't been a running back since the late 90s. Congrats to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Most importantly, keeping New England from winning another one.
Exactly. They would have tied the Steelers, and we don't
pass
want that.
them.
Oh, that's right. They would have passed the Steelers.
And they would have tied Tom Brady, who's won more than any team by himself. Amazingly.
7. They would have had 7 with that victory. I mean, they did score a couple touchdowns, but all in all, it was not really close.
No, they were overwhelmed. New England with a very young quarterback, Drake May, was overwhelmed, and Seattle has a great defense, man.
And a 4-man rush, you would think they were blitzing.
Yeah.
It was incredible how they were able to just...
The left tackle looked overwhelmed. They're both very young, and they'll be back.
Yeah.
It's on to the offseason now. All attention goes to the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, Doug. People are already camped out on the north side. I have friends of mine that are already in tents. No.
76 days, I think.
Oh, God.
I drove past that sign the other day, which is right along the river. Along the Allegheny River.
They've had that up since last summer, I think.
Oh, yeah. No, I think, right after they announced it was going to be here. Wasn't it?
But that's the next big event on the NFL calendar.
That's big stuff. And it's amazing. The commissioners in sports always get booed all the time, but you can't boo this guy who's running the NFL. They're doing okay.
It's a money machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The Super Bowl, I'm sure, was the most watched show ever. Next year's Super Bowl will be even more watched. The draft gets hundreds of thousands of people, and
in person they get that.
Oh,
many.
Absolutely, millions to watch on TV, obviously. And if Roger Goodell wants to avoid getting booed, he should bring out Greenfield's own Mike McCarthy, because people will cheer him until they make their first draft choice, and people don't like that. Then they'll start booing the local guy.
They'll hate him, call him fraud, the whole
That's
thing.
That's right. But for now, they love him because he's local and he's the new head coach.
So the day after the Super Bowl, what happened in sports, Nick? Pitchers and catchers showed up.
That's right. Now that football's over, it's all to baseball. Though the Winter Olympics, which we just aired an update, I've enjoyed them. You've enjoyed them.
I get a kick out of them.
Baseball's coming up, so as soon as the Olympics are over, we go to spring. And now that it's in the 50s today, it really feels like baseball.
Yeah, Nick and I were arguing earlier. One thing says it's 59 degrees, something else says it's 50. So let's go with 55.
No, 55 sounds good. Yeah, I don't think it's as warm as 59.
Which is at 60 degrees milder than it was yesterday morning.
That's right.
What was it, 7 below?
Oh my gosh, yes. It was 0, the actual temperature.
I was
night.
outside. I had to do stuff outside with my day job with my gloves off. I couldn't feel my extremities after a while.
Your
my digits were
your digits
were
your fingertips is what most people call them.
Right, exactly. I was having trouble doing what I had to do outside.
And I have a great story about fingertips to tell you off the air. I mentioned to you off the air a few minutes ago, but we'll get into that.
Okay, we'll get to that a little bit.
It has something to do with our guest tonight, can we say? Greg Brown.
Greg Brown.
We're definitely in Pirate season now. The Greg Brown's joining us.
That's right. Greg Brown is arrived in Bradenton today. As I mentioned to Nick off the air, our negotiations with Greg to have him on the air, apparently he insisted on unpacking before he got on the air with us.
He's like, guys, I'll do a long, extensive interview with you, but can I put my underwear
away? Now that he just arrived in Bradenton today.
Can I put my socks in the drawer?
You know, it's not bad when you go to work where most people go on vacation.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's not a bad gig.
And I'm sure he's playing golf with Steve Blass in the morning.
Yeah, I'm guessing Steve is still down there in that area.
Yeah. What a life for Greg. And it is a long grind announcing baseball games every day for 7 months, but you are announcing baseball games,
right?
Especially in Florida for the next month. So I don't have much pity for Mr. Brown. Yeah. I'm very jealous of him, frankly.
Exactly. And at this point, our friend Bill Hughes is probably down there watching the game.
He's also been to every spring training stadium, which
Has he really?
No, I made that up.
Well, he may have.
There's a lot. I mean,
Bill Hughes, you never know, for heaven's sake.
There's 30 of them, just like there's 30 regular stadiums.
So we have the Grapefruit League and the Cactus League.
That's right. Florida and Arizona. The Pirates have been in Florida forever. I don't think they were ever in Arizona, but yeah, it's amazing. It's here, and the Pirates signed a guy yesterday. We'll talk to Greg about Marcell Ozuna. He's a DH.
And another thing, it seems perhaps that McCutcheon's days with the Bucks are over.
Yeah, it's not ending well. He's going on social media rants about them. It's sad to see.
Yeah, I don't understand the PR effort at times. I mean, I realize it's sports. He makes millions of dollars, but you do owe the guy some respect.
Well, they brought him back and they didn't have to. I mean,
right. But I'm just saying, maybe make that a decision a couple months ago. They could have made a big to-do out of it at Pirate Fest.
Right. I don't know the whole story. Maybe he's at fault. Maybe the organization's at fault. But
there's always more to the story,
yes,
right?
I think McCutcheon thinks he should get like a Clemente Willie Stargell send-off with a statue. And frankly, he's not that level of player. A very good player. But
should his number be retired?
That's a question that I've been asked before. I don't know if he's reached that level. I don't.
Yeah, when you retire a number, you really have to be with the team your entire career,
right? And have just a stellar Hall of Fame level tenure. And I don't think he's had that. He was the best player for them for many years, but I would say no. I'm sure he's a nice guy, very good player, but I don't know if he's at that Clemente Stargell level
again. Yeah, or Maz or
right. Dave Parker, who I don't think has his number retired.
No, and Dave Parker again,
I think, is a better player, frankly.
Oh, I think he was, too. A best player in the game at the time.
Right.
But again, he spent a lot of his time away from Pittsburgh.
McCutcheon, yes.
And Parker, too.
Oh, they both did, yes.
Yeah, Parker initially went to Cincinnati.
That's right. You won a World Series there.
Yeah, and I forget, Montreal? We go to I've lost track of
the Expos. Don't you miss the Expos?
No.
No?
No, I don't miss the Expos. But nonetheless.
All right. Come on, Doug, go with the bit. Say yes.
Okay, yes. I missed the Expos, for heaven's sakes.
I liked having two teams in Canada. No, I don't care.
That was, of course, they played at Olympic Stadium, right?
They did.
That was the 1976 Summer Olympics, which was in such financial dire straits, the federal government of Canada had to take it over during the games.
Wow.
It was struggling so much financially.
I didn't realize that.
And that's where one of my childhood heroes became the greatest athlete on the planet.
Jenner?
Bruce Jenner won the decathlon. They always say whoever got the gold in decathlon was the greatest athlete because they do 10 different sports.
Wow. What happened to him?
I don't know.
What's he doing now?
I'm not sure what Bruce Jenner's up to these days.
Well, I'll Google that.
Yeah, Google Bruce Jenner and see
what comes up.
See what shows up. That's right. He's
anyway. Yeah, he's living his life. He can do what he wants.
I have a photo at home somewhere of him that he signed for me.
Oh, nice.
And it's signed Bruce. Maybe I should find him and have him re-sign
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, you could sign it
free
twice.
Country, Bruce can do what he wants.
Whatever he wants to do. That's
free
right.
Country, yeah.
Dr. Robert Thompson, this is a few minutes from now, is going to join us. We're going to chat it up about how NBC, this is very unique, how they're handling, of course, reporting on something that happened on their own station. But first, let's take a break, and then we're going to hit the CBS News Brief.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
Ready to score big on your next home? Well, great news. Huge savings are waiting for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. From open floor plans perfect for game day parties to energy-efficient homes that will help you save money all season long, these homes are built to deliver. Don't wait on the sidelines. Make the winning play today and find the home that fits your family and lifestyle. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon at 4500 Route 51.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. Couples Comedy with married comedians Tom Cotter and Carrie Louise comes to the State Theater Center for the Arts Friday, February 13th at 8 p.m. for a hilarious Valentine's performance. An America's Got Talent Season 7 finalist and one of the funniest comics today, Tom Cotter, and Carrie Louise, a Last Comic Standing finalist, are sure to make it an uproarious Galentine's night out. For tickets, call 724-439-1360 or online at statetheater.info. Recommended for those 16 and over. If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
When you need notary services, trust the best. Sandy Howell Notary Services, back-to-back gold medal winner for Best Notary in Fayette County. They're here for you with extended hours to fit your schedule. Sandy Howell's also the 2025 gold medal winner for Best Title Company. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 8:30, and Saturdays, 9 to 5. Call 724-564-8955 today.
CBS News Brief. New images released from the night Nancy Guthrie went missing show a masked man disabling her doorbell cam. Law enforcement contributor Rodney Harrison says,
"This is somebody that had it planned out, went after the camera, have themselves covered up, had on gloves so they don't leave prints. This is a planned out situation of a crime."
On Capitol Hill, immigration officials were questioned about their practices, but Customs and Border Patrol Commissioner Rodney Scott defended his agents.
These attacks on federal law enforcement personnel are coordinated and well funded. This is not peaceful protest. No law enforcement officer should be put at personal risk simply for doing the job that we have asked them to do.
President Trump is threatening to stop the opening of a bridge that connects Michigan and Ontario. Ridiculous, says Detroit auto worker Deshaun Daniels.
There's already been a deal made. Why are we reneging on the deal? That makes absolutely no sense.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
That, of course, is Led Zeppelin bringing us out of the break here on a Tuesday on the Afternoon Drive Show. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk. 55 degrees right now outside of our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law studios. Joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line from Syracuse University, Director of the Bleier Center for Pop Culture and Television, Dr. Robert Thompson. Dr. Thompson, thanks for joining us, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you may have just heard the update. CBS just did their update on the latest on the kidnapping, abduction of Nancy Guthrie, of course, the mother of Savannah Guthrie of NBC's Today Show. And it brings up a very interesting dynamic that all the networks, no matter who they are reporting on something happening to the relative of one of their competitors on another network, and at the same time, NBC is reporting on something that's happening to one of their own employees' relatives. Not completely unprecedented, but it does raise some interesting questions of what's appropriate, how do you handle that, what's the best way to do it, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's a couple things we should start off with, which, first of all, this is a big national story because it is the mother of a person on a major news organization. So if this were, simply somebody that nobody had ever heard of, we wouldn't have heard this story at all. This is not a big national story, except for the fact that it's Savannah Guthrie's mother, and Savannah Guthrie is a well-known personality with NBC. Secondly, there is always the idea of, is there a conflict of interest? How do you cover something that's your own story? And we may talk about the Washington Post and how it's kind of not doing that. But in this case, it's different. I suppose NBC covering the abduction of Savannah Guthrie's mother is different than what NBC had to do when, for example, Matt Lauer got into the trouble with the accusations and so forth. I think for the most part, NBC has been actually doing a good job about this. It's true they opened the Today Show with the story every day. They play the entire videos. Some of the other places only show portions of them. But they haven't been overdoing the story. They've been doing it pretty much like you would expect any other news story to have. Clearly, the people who are reporting on it have a vested interest in that. They know her very well, but I'm not sure that's too much damaging the way this is covered. So I think overall, I think NBC has done about as best as they can with a story that's obviously very distressing to them.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, in the fact that everybody is covering it. You don't often hear CBS, and we're a CBS affiliate here, talk about NBC so much, or ABC talk about NBC so much. So, yeah, it's a very different thing. And then add into this the fact that she was going to be co-host of one of the biggest events of the year, the opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympics, and that somebody had to fill in for her, I think did admirable, considering I'm sure she had been preparing for that for months. To co-host those opening ceremonies, but of course it seems to be the appropriate thing to do. Obviously, she couldn't be there with this going on in her private life and her personal life.
Yeah, and that is, first of all, there have been other cases where across the board a single network will be covered. When remember the big 60 Minutes 2 controversy, that was covered across the board. The Matt Lauer story was covered the board. The Bill O'Reilly over at Fox was covered across the, at all the different networks. All the stuff going on at CBS and at 60 Minutes was certainly covered by all the other news organizations. And look at the huge story when Colbert got canceled back in July, and when Kimmel was taken off temporarily of ABC. Those stories were being talked about everywhere, CNN and Fox News and MS Now, I guess it is, and all of those places. So we do see that, and of course there you had a situation when CBS was covering Colbert. That was really interesting because CBS, of course, was the company that canceled Colbert. At the same time, CBS had a certain connection, and I'm sure some other people affection for Colbert. So that isn't that different. I suppose one of the differences is that Savannah Guthrie is part of the Today Show. And the Today Show, even to this day, morning shows don't have this centrality that they did even 15 years ago, and certainly before the age of the Internet and cable and all that. But there's still these kind of weird mixed genre things. So you can open a day on the morning show like Today's Show and be doing really, really serious news, or suddenly find yourself having to do serious news. The Tuesday, September 11th, 2001, for example. But also, they do all kinds of goofy things. They put on aprons and make souffles with a chef, or they put on Halloween costumes. There always was this sense, and this has been true for almost 75 years, Today Show started in 52, that this was a place that you kind of woke up, it looked like they were in the living room, and we were watching from our living room, and it was supposed to be this family with sibling figures and parent figures. And even though all of TV is fragmented, we've been kind of seeing that. Hoda Kotb, a member of the family who moved away, has come back now and is helping out, even though I think she was going to do some stuff at the Olympics anyway. We have these replacement sort of things. The odd familial spirit that is kind of contrary to what we think of as objective news, but very much consistent with what morning shows like the Today Show are pretty much operating as we would expect them to.
Yeah, I'm always amazed sometimes. I'm convinced that our guests are reading my show notes. And you brought up a couple of things I was going to bring up. It made me roll my eyes a bit. The Killian documents controversy, which you brought up. 60 Minutes too. I think it was called 60 Minutes Wednesday at one point. And, of course, Dan Rather was pushing the fact that they found these 6 documents that proved that George W. Bush was getting special consideration when he served in the Air National Guard. And it came out later that, no, these things could not have been produced in 1973. They were done with Times New Roman on Microsoft.
And to interrupt briefly, the odd thing is, if I recall, Dan Rather got kicked off of the CBS Evening News for that, but he got to stay on 60 Minutes, the scene of the crime. I never understood that.
Everybody got fired but the guy who insisted they air it. Yeah. It was amazing. When it's funny, as I was prepping for this interview, I was researching that last night, and my gosh, it's hard to believe it's over 20 years ago now. But yeah, when that came down, everybody was reporting on it. There's one thing for NBC to reporting on the kidnapping of one of their employees' mothers, but CBS are reporting on the fact that it's now been proven that these were false allegations about President Bush, and that the CBS producers were in touch with the Kerry campaign to let them know they were going to do this. And my gosh, we always joke about a Pittsburgh connection. Dick Thornburgh, the former governor of Pennsylvania, Attorney General.
There you go.
He was part of the committee or the task force that examined what was going on. There's always that. We always joke about that. There's always some.
All roads lead back to Pittsburgh if you follow them long enough.
That's what I'm sure every town says the same thing. But yeah, that was fascinating. And then the Colbert thing. So you have CBS firing Colbert, who's an employee of CBS, who's then criticizing his own employers for firing him, and they're leaving him on the air for another.
Still on.
Yeah, I know, till May. So yeah, these things are very interesting. Let's move over to the Washington Post, because I know you've got a tight schedule today. Washington Post recently announced they're laying off 1/3 of their staff, including almost the entire sports department. However, they've not used their own reporters to report on that. They have published reports by the AP in their paper about that. So that's sort of interesting how they chose not to have their own reporters report on their own story.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the cynical comment would be they didn't have any reporters left to report on it. But there is a few. And by the way, that depending on which report you look at, when the Times, which is where I found out about these firings, they said it was about 1/3 of the news reporters. There's new numbers coming out that says it might be closer to half of the reporters.
Based
so that is
open spots are not filling. That's what I had heard.
Maybe that's how they're counting. But anyway, and this isn't just another sad story of a local newspaper on hard times. This is the Washington Post. This is the place where all the president's men happened. How many practicing journalists were inspired to go into the field based on Woodward and Bernstein? This is the main newspaper in the belly of the beast of the capital of our nation. To lose 1/3, a half, either one of their reporters is an enormous story. And you're right. When that broke, I think it was 5 days ago, the Post's coverage of it was supplied by the AP, which isn't terribly unusual to have the AP to use AP coverage. But for a story like that, I think it was kind of alarming in that is a really big story, and it's one that I could see how they would struggle. How do we cover this? This is us. But at the same time, I think they do need to cover it, and they could have supplied all kinds of information, which they did to the AP people. But anyway, it's interesting how we had in the same week 2 instances of media operations becoming big headlines themselves, and two very, very different ways of approaching.
Yeah, the publisher and CEO Will Lewis of the Washington Post, in his first meeting with staff, said, quote, "Nobody's reading your stuff," which is a pretty blunt statement for a publisher to tell his own reporters at his paper.
And then what became of him?
Yeah, exactly. When you think about that approach that was taken, how would you like to be the reporter if they did do it? Get a sign. By the way, you're doing the report on most of your coworkers being let go. Wouldn't you love to have that?
No, I wouldn't. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll write it. Then I'm resigning or retiring. I would not want that assignment at all. We're talking with Dr. Robert Thompson from Syracuse University, director of the Bleier Center, and today we'll talk about television, but it's really going into pop culture too. It's bouncing back and forth between both of these, especially this story about NBC. The fact throw in the Olympics at the same time, and all the and they've seemed to have handled it well. They're mentioning it. They're not obsessing over it in the Olympics. They've initially mentioned, of course, Savannah was going to be with us. She won't be here tonight because of the issues in her own family. I don't know if it's unprecedented, but it's got to be close to have something hit that big at such a big time.
Yeah, I mean, and NBC has been really at the center. I mean, they go from the Super Bowl. Tirico takes a breath from covering the Super Bowl and starts covering the Olympics almost immediately.
9,600-mile flight, right?
Yeah, barely misses a beat. And then on top of that, NBC's got the biggest domestic story as well, right at their doorstep. But some of it too. You think back to. When the news was the news and it was completely emotionless. Remember when Walter Cronkite took his glasses off when he finally confirmed that President Kennedy had died, and he fought back a tear and then went right back into his objective reporting. Edward R. Murrow never cracked a smile. He didn't crack an expression of any kind. He
Right.
talked almost like a robot, that he was considered the greatest of broadcast journalists. That ideal, that notion, has long ago gone away. We've had enough decades of, primetime 24-hour cable news. We've had reporters, breaking into tears. Dan Rather after 9/11, not on the news, but on a talk show. But so this idea of this whole notion of objective journalism and how people have to behave has changed. So I don't think it is as alarming to see NBC people showing some emotion as they cover a story about someone that's their colleague.
Yeah. You talked about that. We'll finish up with that. When Cronkite took his glasses off, people criticized him over the top, even back then, that he was showing emotion. Well, my gosh, the President of the United States had just been assassinated.
Cronkite barely. I mean, if that's showing emotion.
Right. Exactly, yeah. And he got excited when they landed on the moon, but then so did everybody else.
Yeah, he said hot diggity dog when we landed on the moon.
Exactly. Folks, if you want to get more information, check out the Bleier Center for Television and Popular Culture. Our guest right now, of course, is director of that up at the Newhouse School at Syracuse University. Dr. Thompson, thanks so much. We'll let you get on with your classroom work. And we appreciate your taking time to talk about a very complicated issue here. It's sort of fascinating back and forth. And
well, it's always so much fun to talk to you. Thanks for calling.
Alrighty. Have a good evening.
You too.
Dr. Robert Thompson, good guy, knows his stuff. Never met him in person, but again, it's funny how Nick, he was talking about how people make these connections to people on TV or even on the radio. Like you feel like you know somebody because you hear them every day or you see them every day. And I was trying to get your attention at one point. You and I have talked about how Cronkite, when he was announcing the death of Jack Kennedy, took off his glasses, looked into the camera.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which at the time was pretty rare.
Oh, yes.
For people to show that sort of emotion.
A bulletin from Dallas.
Yeah. Apparently
President
official.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to do it word for word, but it escaped from my mind. So I'll, and I don't want to disparage Mr. Cronkite, maybe the greatest broadcaster ever. But there you go.
Him and Morrow, that's for sure. We're going to take a break right now, folks. When we come back, Nick and I will wrap up hour number 1, and we'll tell you what's coming up. We're with you till 8:30 tonight. A lot of interesting guests tonight. Stick around.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has 2 convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borges.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
Pennsylvania is at a crossroads. We have seen young people leave the Commonwealth and costs rise. But we can and are starting to change that. The future economy runs on energy, and Pennsylvania has it. Our resources can power innovation, attract new industries and good-paying careers, and lower energy costs. Tomorrow's economy is being built today. Let's build it in Pennsylvania. Learn more at pachamber.org. Sponsored by the Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce.
That is the Rolling Stones bringing us out of the break here on a very, very mild Tuesday out there.
Oh, my. Baseball weather.
It is baseball weather, for heaven's sake.
Not quite. I'd like to be a little warmer and the snow to be off the ground.
I was bowling last night, and the one guy said, "What if I can get 9 holes of golf in tomorrow?" I'm like, "I'm sure if you could find a course that's open, they'll let you out there."
Yeah.
But yeah,
as
crazy.
the snow melts away.
About 55 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis attorneys at Law Studios. Nick will get that forecast for you following the national and local news and sports. Speaking of sports, we're going to talk sports during the 7 o'clock hour tonight. We are with you right up until 8:30. But during the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to Bob Grove about the Penguins at this break in the season for the Olympics. We'll talk to him. Kind of a crazy Penguin season so far. Ups and downs. 7-game losing streaks, 6-game winning streaks. Nick and I and Brian and some others went to what some people have said was the worst performance of the Penguins.
I've heard 2 people on the radio who know hockey more than I do, and that's not saying much, but they said, yeah, that was the worst game they played this season. And there you go, Doug. And Mike Lang night a few years ago, that was maybe the worst game they played of that season. Exactly. And didn't Mike Lang say to you it was his big bobblehead night? He said, the late, great Mike Lang, who we miss dearly, said that was a really bad game you saw, Doug. Didn't he say that to you? He
did, yeah. He said it to both of us, I think.
Yeah, and that was his night.
That was his night.
That was a great night.
And there's a bobblehead right over there with Mike on it.
We miss Mike. He was the greatest.
Right in the studios. And so we're going to talk to Bob Grove. And then following that, during the 7 o'clock hour, pitchers and catchers have arrived in Bradenton. And who arrived today, of course, was Greg Brown, everybody.
Ah, the voice.
So we're going to talk to him. Pirates made an acquisition the other day. It looks like maybe Andrew McCutcheon's days with the Pirates are over. Not handled as smooth as it could be, but that's life in big time. If you
build him a statue and move on.
If you want to let me go unceremoniously after I've made millions of dollars,
exactly,
I could handle that. But yeah, you want to be able to treat the guy nice. He was the
yeah.
one that called the Pirates front office and said, "I'd like to come back." At one point,
yes, and he did come back, and they brought him back, and it was a great time. But everything comes to an end, and I'm not sure if he's a statue-worthy player or a retire the number player, but he had a great run. He'll make the Pirates Hall of Fame for sure. But he was the best player in baseball 2013, National League Most Valuable Player, and certainly the best player they had in my youth. And now, they have the best pitcher in baseball, the Pirates, and let's hope they can win something with them. I think they'll improve this year. I do. How many more wins they'll have, I don't know, but I think they'll be a little better.
Yeah, they went 2 years in a row with 76 wins. Last year, they dropped from that.
Yeah.
And not too many teams have so few wins and a Cy Young winner.
No, they have the best pitcher in baseball for 2 years, and they somehow have gotten worse, which irritates me and Pirate fans everywhere. But you got to hit. You can't just have great pitching.
Right.
You need to score some runs.
And I love baseball. That tells you the staying power of just the game itself. That you can have such horrible decades of baseball and still you have millions of people show up to see them.
Yeah.
At a really nice park. Maybe some folks would say that.
Maybe the park's a little too nice. I mean, it is a gorgeous stadium, and I love going there, but yeah. If they were still playing at Three Rivers, I don't know how many people would show up, Doug. Not many.
Yeah, I don't think so. The one year, my gosh, they didn't draw 1 million.
No.
At Three Rivers. Doug Hoyt's going to join us. You folks may recognize him. He is the publisher of Pittsburgh Quarterly, but we're going to talk to him about a new project he's starting, introducing Pittsburgh back to people, called Pittsburgh Tomorrow. They've got a website, pittsburghpioneer.com. We're going to talk to Doug, who I've known for many, many years. And then and retirement was announced. I think he has one more show on another station. He's on public television, and he was on PCNC, Pittsburgh Cable News Channel, for a while with a show. He was at WQED TV for a while, and now he has announced his retirement. I think he's got one show left, and we're going to talk to Chris Moore, of course, who's been in local media for many, many, many years. We'll talk to him at 8:15, right before we go to the Pitt Panthers pregame show. They're taking on the Dukes tonight. Not the Dukes. Duke
Blue
University,
Devils.
the Blue Devils.
The really famous Duke. No offense to Duquesne,
right?
But Duke that everyone knows.
Exactly.
Yes.
The other
outside
Duke.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
The other Duke.
The city game. They don't play that anymore, right?
No, they have. They had
What
a
a
city
shame.
football game this year.
That's right.
Did not go well. We had a big tailgate because one of my daughters went to Duquesne. The other three went to Pitt. And we had a big tailgate. The game wasn't close.
Who would have thought they'd have a city game in football, but not basketball?
Well, I think that's a sign that the basketball team's worried about losing.
They are. It's all on Pitt. Pitt needs to step up and play that game because I almost said the Mellon Arena. Boy, I'm getting old. PBG Paints Arena would be packed. I remember going to many city games at the Igloo. My brother-in-law and dad took me.
Oh, it was big time.
It was so much fun.
Well, I remember going to Duquesne games at the Igloo because they didn't have their own facility on campus. So you'd have 1,000 people in the old Civic Arena, which at the time held, I think, about 12,000.
Right.
Not as many as it did, but I remember when somebody had a connection. A friend of mine's dad worked for Westinghouse. We got the box. So we were up in the luxury box watching the Duquesne game.
Wow.
And it wasn't, it was sort of funny looking down on that. So, we're going to talk some sports tonight.
Why not?
And coming up, too.
If you haven't learned that Doug and I, really all we care about is sports and rock and roll. That's really, if we could just make the whole show, forget politics, forget the world issues, music and sports.
Just focus on that.
Music and sports are really all that matter.
That's right. Some folks have received some emails at radiosaltzman@gmail.com saying you're not interviewing as many CBS folks anymore. Well,
there's a reason for that.
That's not our choice. CBS has changed. Things are changing there. And we're only permitted one interview a week with a CBS correspondent or anchor or analyst, rather. It'd be nice to get the anchors.
That would be nice. Nora O'Donnell.
Yeah.
She can find her script.
Yeah, we were supposed to interview Nora O'Donnell at one point, but pandemic hit.
That's right.
And it's because she was doing the 5 o'clock news on
She
CBS
was, and
Radio.
that went back to Cronkite, and then they got rid of it for years.
Yeah.
And Jeff Glor did it for a while, but Tony Tocopel's now the anchor of the evening news, and
He
I hope he's doing well. Can't say I watch him every night or ever because I'm here, but I'm sure he's doing fine.
He recently did his newscast from U.S. Steel's plant in West Mifflin.
That's right.
And had Dave McCormick there, and also
maybe he stopped by Kennywood.
John Fetterman, maybe he did. You can see it from that plant.
Yeah.
If you're on the right ride at Kennywood, you can clearly see that plant as well.
Right.
Including the Irvin Works, and also you can see the plant down in Braddock where John Fetterman's from. So we're going to check in Colonel Jeff McCausland, another drug boat has been hit. We're going to get his analysis on that. And again, that's an explanation as why we're not interviewing as many CBS correspondents as we once did. We would if we could, but that's the changes at CBS in New York. Let's take a look. We were talking about, Nick and I were going back and forth kidding about the temperature. We're showing different temperatures for the region. Right now, these are the temperatures I'm showing.
All right.
For Uniontown right now, mostly cloudy, 48 degrees.
Not bad.
Ohio Powell, 47 degrees. Winter weather advisory for up there.
Really?
And a air quality alert. You don't think of that in wintertime.
No, that's a summer thing, I thought.
Connellsville's 49. Farmington, 40. That's a big difference. 51 in Masontown. 49 in Perryopolis, Brownsville, Waynesburg, Washington at 46, Somerset at 43, and Latrobe 48, Pittsburgh 45 degrees. Again, an air quality alert, but a winter weather advisory for Somerset, Ohio Powell. Of course, the areas up in the ridges. Nick will get you more information about that when he does the weather report coming up here after the local news and sports. Speaking of sports, I guess we have another C. Harper High School sports night
on Thursday.
On Thursday night.
Time.
It's
Absolutely.
playoffs.
It's a Whippy Old Boys 5A preliminary round game. The Mustangs of Laurel Highlands taking on the Ringgold Rams, a pregame. Sprouse Insurance Group pregame at 6:10 and the game at 7. C. Harper Auto Group High School Sports Night. Postseason is here, and good luck to all the local teams. The LH boys and girls made it. The Geibel girls made it. So we'll have all those games. So there's that.
And we'll have some of the girls' games, too.
Oh, yeah.
We always get
Geibel
questions
girls,
about that.
Geibel girls, LH girls, yeah.
And you'll hear Brian Morozak and maybe the mayor of Hopwood.
The mayor of Hopwood will stop by if he's not doing any mayoral duties.
That's
like
right.
dedicating a playground.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or, cutting a ribbon at a
inaugural
pharmacy.
events, that sort of thing. So
inaugural ball.
So stick around, folks. Colonel Jeff McCausland is going to join us after the news. And then Doug Hoyt, we're going to talk about a new program here in southwestern Pennsylvania to welcome folks back to the region who may have moved away. But first, CBS News on your local station, WMBS Union.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. It's been over a week since Nancy Guthrie went missing, and now the FBI's released surveillance video of a person on her front porch. CBS's Elizabeth Cook describes what is seen.
You can see a person approach their front door and then cover the camera with a gloved hand. That person is also wearing a zip-up jacket and a backpack with a mask leaving the eyes and mouth visible. A gun also appears to be in a holster in the middle of their waistband, the front part of their pants.
Former NYPD detective Kurt Burkhalter says this is a game changer.
Someone knows this person, someone other than this person's associates who were interacting with them or may have assisted with them. The clothing is somewhat distinct, their gait and so forth.
A federal court in Georgia has unsealed records related to the FBI's seizure of 2020 election materials from Fulton County. Here's Justice reporter Jacob Rosen.
The affidavit listed what the agent said were 5 deficiencies or defects with the 2020 election and the counting of votes in Fulton County, including issues with the number of scanned ballot images in Fulton County's possession, ballots being scanned multiple times during a recount, and inconsistencies regarding tallies in an audit of ballots.
The National Governors Association has canceled its annual White House meeting after President Trump only invited Republican governors to what has always been a bipartisan event. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defended her boss.
The president has the discretion to invite whomever he wants to the White House, and he welcomes all those who received an invitation to come. And if they don't want to, that's their loss.
If you owe a lot of child support, Cammie McCormick reports you could lose your passport.
Parents owing more than $2,500 in child support have been subject to having their passports revoked by law, but in the past, that's only been done when they went to apply for renewal. The Associated Press is reporting the State Department will now begin to revoke passports on its own initiative, based on data shared by the Health and Human Services Department.
Day 4 of the Winter Olympics in Italy, and Team USA brought home multiple medals today in curling, men's cross country, and the luge. Plus,
Americans also got a bronze medal in the Alpine women's team combined today. Lots of attention on that as Breezy Johnson, the newly crowned gold medalist from Sunday's downhill race, teamed up with the most decorated Alpine skier ever, Michaela Schifrin. They came in fourth. Their teammates Jackie Wiles and Paula Moltzan teamed up and got a bronze.
That's CBS News correspondent Seth Doan in Cortina. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, much cooler temperatures are here, but you could still enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customer guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 for a no-cost or obligation home consultation. Or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Ready to update your home? Find what you need at Zen's Construction Warehouse. Their friendly, knowledgeable staff will be happy to help you the old-fashioned way. Zen's is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5:30, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 2. 485 Walnut Hill Road in Continental. Zen's Construction Warehouse, 724-366-8274. Or visit Zen's Construction Warehouse's Facebook page.
Zen's Construction Warehouse, our surplus, your savings.
Ever since the Super Bowl, lines have been around the block at a Los Angeles taqueria.
Victor Villa, who owns Villa's Tacos, was the guy in the stand who accepted a shaved ice from Bad Bunny as he made his way through a recreation of popular scenes from his native Puerto Rico. Now, football fans want a taste for themselves.
I think it's an amazing thing that this current times that we're seeing that representation of a Latino-owned business.
We were watching the halftime show, saw those tacos, and we knew we needed to come back and celebrate.
Diaz thanked Bad Bunny on social media for giving him the opportunity to represent his people at the highest level. He says it's crazy where a taco can take you. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Skimo is making its Olympic debut in Italy. Athletes climb and descend steep mountain courses while repeatedly taking their skis on and off. They go up the hill on skis and then down the rugged terrain on foot. The events start February 19th. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. And now the news.
And good evening, 6:05, and we are unseasonably warm right now at 54 degrees under clear skies on this Tuesday. I'm Nick Barczyk from the Davis & Davis Studios. Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law, voted Fayette County's best law firm 2025, your local station, WMBS, the Weather Watch and Sports on the way in a bit. State Senator Pat Stefano announced he is seeking re-election to represent the 32nd Senate District of Pennsylvania, which includes Fayette and Somerset, along with the borough of Scottdale and Westmoreland. In a statement, Stefano says he remains focused on affordability, the creation of jobs, reliable energy opportunities, accessible health care, and attainable housing. His legislative priorities, he says, include reducing utility costs, supporting workforce development, protecting customers, and maintaining public safety and local infrastructure. In Greene County, two local judges, President Judge Jeffrey Grimes and newly elected Judge Christopher Sims, have recused themselves from overseeing the criminal cases against former Greene District Attorney David Russo and ex-Chief Detective Zachary Sams, returning the matter to court administration for reassignment. The pair face misdemeanor and felony charges, among them retaliation for past official actions, official oppression, conflict of interest, and related conspiracy counts that stem from allegations they used their authority to target political rivals. The Observer reporter reports that attorneys for Russo sought recusal and a change of venue. They argue that local publicity in Russo's profile make it difficult to secure an unbiased jury, and no new judge or hearing date has been set. In Westmoreland County, Thomas Stanko testified today that he believes another man is responsible for the disappearance of his former girlfriend, Cassandra Gross, and twice offered to take a polygraph test to prove his innocence. Stanko spoke publicly for the first time regarding Gross's disappearance when he took the stand in his own defense on day 7 of a homicide trial in Greensburg in Westmoreland County Court. Stanko is facing a charge of criminal homicide and reckless burning in connection with the disappearance of Gross, who was 51 years old. While she was legally declared dead in 2019, her remains have never been found. Prosecutors say Stango killed Gross following a meeting in April of 2018 before burning her body and discarding her remains. Stango has denied any involvement in Gross's disappearance and murder. He says he and Gross had a loving relationship and that he last saw her on April 7th, 2018, when she left his house between 7 and 8 in the evening to go shopping. Pittsburgh region is being ranked as one of the best places to celebrate Valentine's Day. That's according to Wallet Hub, which analyzed 100 of the largest U.S. regions using data like romance and cost of living, and also the number of jewelry stores, chocolate shops, and florist shops per capita. Pittsburgh is ranked 7th overall, San Francisco 1, followed by San Diego, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and Seattle. Home of the world champion Seahawks, they ran out the top 5. Do you feel safe on Pennsylvania streets and roadways, and what could be better? PennDOT is asking for your input with a new online survey now through the end of February. The survey is helping the governor's administration improve traffic safety and direct grant money towards programs. About $30 million is invested from federal grant funds around the state in initiatives aimed at preventing accidents, deaths on the road, and injuries every year. The survey can be found online at pa.gov/safety. And Valentine's Day is Saturday, and the Pennsylvania Department of Consumer and Business Services is warning about romance scams. The scammers lead the victims into fake romantic relationships online and then convince them to invest money into fraudulent accounts. The Federal Trade Commission reported more than $12 billion in scam-related losses around America in 2024. Before investing money, research the investment to make sure it's legitimate. And this February is considered a perfect month, and it has nothing to do with Valentine's Day this weekend.
This month is under a magic math spell because it starts on a Sunday. That means every day on the calendar is filled and happens exactly 4 times. That's what makes this month perfect. The phenomena can only happen in February on non-leap years, and it's considered lucky if you're into astrology. Contrary to the internet, it is not an 823-year event. The Sunday start sequence will happen again in 2037. I'm Bree Tennis.
Well, in case you were ever wondering, there you go. More next on WMPS.
Is it time for your first home or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
And that's the news. We'll get to the Weather Watch in just a bit on WMPS.
The local, district, and statewide news was brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51.
We'll get to the Weather Watch, but right now an Olympic update from Italy. This 2026 Winter Olympics update is brought to you by Pento Home Care of Uniontown. When you want award-winning personalized home care for your loved ones, call Pento Home Care at 724-322-8192.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. The U.S. won 5 medals today. A silver for Alex Hall in freestyle skiing, the slopestyle event. He won gold 4 years ago. A bronze medal for the alpine skiing team of Jackie Wiles and Paula Molson, although in that combined event, a very disappointing 4th place finish for the team everyone expected to win the gold, Breezy Johnson and Michaela Schifrin. Just the 3rd ever U.S. medal in an individual luge event. Ashley Farquharson, a bronze in the women's singles. Although they lost the gold medal game to Sweden 6-5, the U.S. took silver in the mixed event in just the 2nd U.S. medal ever in curling. And Ben Ogden won silver in cross-country skiing, just the 2nd medal ever won in that sport. The gold went to Norway's Johannes Hosfets Klobo, and for him, that's 2 down, 4 to go. That's a chance to win 6 gold medals. John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
Pento Home Care Agency cares about you, your health,
and what's best for your family. Pento Home Care is a family-owned and operated home care agency providing the convenience of personal care within your home. They'll work with your family and physicians to come up with the best plan of care for you. Pento offers personal assistance services and accepts all state waiver programs, private insurance, and private pay patients. Pento Home Care Agency has home health care available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and their experienced team of professionals provide expert care. Pento offers hospice care because they know how difficult and overwhelming a terminal illness can be by helping families through the challenging days with dignity and compassion. If you or a loved one need care or are looking for a career as a home health aide, please call them at 724-322-1683 or visit them online at pentohomecareagency.com.
This 2026 Winter Olympics update was brought to you by Pento Home Care, offering a full line of award-winning care and at-home services to help your family member in need with their daily living needs. Call Pento today at 724-322-8192. And from Italy, we move back to southwest Pennsylvania. Now the weather watch right now at 57, warmest day we've had in a long time. Went up to 59 today, the overnight low at 32. 36 with a chance of flurries for tomorrow. Wednesday, the low at 25, back below freezing tomorrow night. Only at 31 for the high Thursday. For the weekend, sunny Friday at 38, back to 50 Saturday with sun, low down below freezing again at 27, 50 with some rain Sunday, and Monday sunny and 50. Right now it's 6:13 on this at Tuesday. We're looking at 55 degrees under clear skies in Uniontown, and a very good evening. I'm Nick Barczyk. This is your local station, WMBS, and sports with college basketball tonight. Duke at Pitt on the air at 8:30 with a pregame game at 9 on WMBS. And we'll talk to Greg Brown, the voice of your Pittsburgh Pirates, tonight at 7:40, getting set for baseball season. Pitchers and catchers report to Bradenton and all the other teams in Florida and Arizona this week. We'll talk about the Bucks and baseball with Greg, and some hockey, Olympic hockey, and the Penguins with Bob Grove all this evening on the Afternoon Drive Show with Doug Saltzman. That's next on WMBS.
There's only one best lunch spot in Uniontown. Titlow Tavern and Grill on West Main Street, serving 8-ounce Reubens, foot-long cheesesteaks and subs, half-pound handmade burgers, plus pizza, calzones, strombolis, pepperoni rolls, and fresh salads like Greek, antipasto, salmon, steak, and chicken. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 9, Friday till 10, Saturday 2 to 10. Dinner and happy hour specials nightly, and private parties are welcome. Call 724-437-6749. Titlow Tavern and Grill.
Couples Comedy with married comedians Tom Cotter and Carrie Louise comes to the State Theater Center for the Arts Friday, February 13th at 8 p.m. for a hilarious Valentine's performance. An America's Got Talent Season 7 finalist and one of the funniest comics today, Tom Cotter, and Carrie Louise, a Last Comic Standing finalist, are sure to make it an uproarious Galentine's night out. For tickets, call 724-439-1360 or online at statetheater.info. Recommended for those 16 and over. Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive Show. It's a long version tonight. We're with you till 8:30. Tomorrow, with you till 8, Nick. How about that, huh? You're stuck with me in studio quite a bit.
What did I do? Why?
Why?
In honor of the Winter Olympics. Why? Why?
Oh, this will get you time out of purgatory, so don't make don't make a big fuss over it. Nick, I really think our temperature gauge up there is stuck. It's still saying 59 degrees.
Yeah, that's wrong, but I think we're still in the 50s,
Wrong. I'm looking at 49 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law studios.
My phone's saying 55. I don't know
Feels
what's
like
going
41.
on. All right.
Well, let's go with 53.
There you go. It was warmer today than it's been in a long, long time. Let's just go with that.
50 to 60 degrees milder than it was yesterday morning.
Yes, that snow's finally going away.
When I was called, I'm sort of on call for this one job I have, and I was outside.
You a heart surgeon? You're on call?
It was 7 degrees below zero.
Oh, my God.
It was cold. Now, how fast is that, Nick? I'm just back on the air. I've got an email already from somebody here who apparently can see my shirt and says, "Why are you soaking wet?"
Yeah, explain, Doug. There we go. Perfect shot, by the way. I finally have the camera exactly where I want it. It took like 10 years we've been doing Facebook Live.
You finally figured it out.
Don't move a muscle, Doug. Don't move the sign. Don't move your head.
I'll stay perfectly still like this.
Go. Don't even talk.
No.
I'd rather have dead air than ruin this perfect shot.
I was out at the water cooler.
Oh, you ruined it. No, you're fine.
Yeah, and I was putting the water cooler, the bottle on, and I lost track of it. Thankfully, I didn't spill it on the floor. I spilled it all over me.
Well, I'd rather you do that than...
Yeah. So, yes, that's why somebody who sends me an email here at radiosaltzman@gmail.com, why I'm soaking wet.
I told Doug very nicely to get the water. I thought he could do it without spilling water all over himself. As long as you didn't get Doreen's workspace wet.
No. It all went over me.
Well, that's good.
So I think I'm sure I'm not the one supposed to do that. It's probably a union job.
Yes.
The Teamsters will file a grievance with me.
Teamsters.
Coming up shortly. I've told this story to Nick. I don't know if I've ever told on the air. When I was in college many moons ago, I had a work-study job at the Allegheny County Law Library, which was in the City County building in downtown Pittsburgh. There are also courts in that building. And I was putting back when the polar water, or whatever they call it, was in, now they're in plastic containers.
Right.
They're glass.
Yeah.
And I put it up on my shoulder, and it slid over the back of my shoulder and hit the ground.
And that was your last day at the law library.
This is 5 gallons of water. It exploded. I mean, it literally, there were like white caps going across.
Lucky you didn't get glass in your eye.
It went down through the floor, and below me, unbeknownst to me, was a courtroom. And water's coming through the light fixtures in the courtroom. They had to call a recess of the trial because Doug dropped the 5 gallons of water, and it went downstairs. I was asked to take the rest of the week off. Yeah, unpaid, I should say. I think it was a Wednesday afternoon. I didn't come back till Monday morning. I walked in, and there was applause when I walked into the room. So, yeah, that was, when would that have been? That was like the summer of 84 or 83, I don't know. A long time ago. Why was there a recess? Doug Saltzman dropped a polar water bottle, and it flooded the law library and went down into a courtroom right below the library. Aside from that, it seemed like a pretty smooth situation. Nonetheless, as I mentioned earlier, we're with you till 8:30 tonight. We have Pitt basketball tonight. They are at home at the Peterson Event Center on the campus of Pitt in Oakland. They are taking on the Duke Blue Devils. And then we're going to talk sports during the 7 o'clock hour. Hockey and baseball. We'll talk more about that. Doug Hoyk coming up. New project he's working on. You may know him as editor of the Pittsburgh Quarterly. But joining us right now.
He's not ready yet.
Not ready yet.
Told to call him back in a few minutes. He's tied up with something.
Oh, I thought you were saying he only has a few minutes.
No.
Gotcha.
Well, when he comes on, you can do the interview as long as you had planned previously. Just he's not ready at the moment.
He's not ready at the moment because he's probably doing show prep because he doesn't want to come on this show unless he's prepared.
Exactly. That or he's getting something out of the oven.
It's something like that because Jeff McCausland could do an interview on anything military without even a moment's notice.
That's right. He's an expert, and we certainly are not.
I wouldn't think about that. We were talking earlier about the Olympics. There's a lot of...
I love them.
A lot of the skating. I watched some of that. It is amazing that this guy can jump up in the air, not on a trampoline.
No, the quad god, you mean. He's amazing.
Yeah, and do... And I couldn't do like 2 of those on a trampoline.
Exactly. No, the people who really know figure skating talk about him like he's the Tom Brady or Babe Ruth of figure skating. Like this kid is special.
And I tried to do a backflip on our trampoline in the backyard one time, and I thought I broke my neck.
Well,
this guy's doing it on ice skates on ice.
He's a world-class athlete, and you're, the opposite of that. So am I, yeah. So are most people. Yeah, there was a funny meme going around, not that I'm into that stuff, but someone said, oh, that figure skating routine could have been tighter as I reach for my second bag of Oreos. Yeah. These world-class athletes and us fat lards on the couch criticizing them.
And you're watching these guys go down this hill skiing.
Oh, Oh, they're going 90 miles an hour.
Yeah. The ones that's just the straight run. The other ones are 70 miles per hour, and they're making turns.
If you're in a car going 70, I'm nervous wreck.
I go skiing with a friend of mine, Ann, and she says, Doug, you are the slowest skier I've ever known in my life. I'm like, yeah, my goal is not to kill myself.
Yeah, at least you went out there.
She said, yes, you should ski in control, but you're below that, Doug. You're skiing. You're so slow, you're out of control.
Yes. No, it's amazing what these people can do.
Yeah, and of course, Lindsey Vonn, of course, taking that horrific crash. How about her muscles are so strong in her legs, she could ski without an ACL.
Right.
I don't know if I could sit down without an ACL. But yeah, I guess she fractured a bone in her leg. And they talked about they had a life flighter. Well, that's the only way to get her off the mountain is to take her from that. And apparently she was cheering. Can you imagine that? So here she's heading away, being pulled up by a helicopter, and there's a guy hanging on the side assisting her as she's heading off on that. Joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line from CBS News military national security analyst, retired Army Colonel Jeff McCausland. Colonel, thank you very much for joining us today. Another drug boat has been hit. First off, tell us what this is about, what prompted it within the administration, and why is it continuing, and who do these boats belong to?
Well, it was prompted when President Trump determined that, from his perspective at least, these cartels had basically declared war on the United States. That's the basic argument. And therefore, these were enemy combatants that one had to deal with, and an effort to cut off the flow of narcotics to the United States. Now that being said, focusing on Venezuela was somewhat unusual from many experts' perspective, because though Venezuela does export narcotics, that doesn't come directly from Venezuela. Most of it is a transit from other places, Colombia, for example. And, of course, the most notorious drug in the United States in terms of death and injury is fentanyl. About 80,000 Americans die from fentanyl overdoses on an annual basis. But the fentanyl comes from Mexico, and the narcotics coming out of Venezuela was going to various islands in the Caribbean. Most likely, the vast majority of it was making its way to Africa or to Europe. But that was the basic argument. Now, as of today, we've struck the 37th small boat in the region. We raid a rather large fleet of U.S. naval vessels, including a carrier battle group, the USS Gerald Ford. It's been on station now for a number of months, and, of course, the capture of President Maduro in a lightning raid back in January was part and parcel of this. Overall, those particular strikes, it's estimated to have killed about 130 people, and there has been some slowdown in the number of attacks. This attack that occurred, I guess it was yesterday, was really the first one that occurred since the end of January.
Yeah. Forgive maybe my ignorance on this one. You called it a lethal kinetic strike. Explain what that means, kinetic strike.
Well, kinetic strike is, using weaponry and violence, and kinetic basically means you're using explosives, you're using weapons, etc., with the effort to kill and or destroy the target.
Yeah. It's interesting, too. I mean, is this unprecedented that this is happening? I don't recall it happening with other administrations who made the determination to do this. Maybe I just missed it.
No, it really hasn't, because other administrations viewed this as a legal issue. And, of course, the USS Coast Guard has operated for many, many years in the Caribbean and intercepted literally thousands of pounds of narcotics coming out of the region. The other thing about this particular strike, which is interesting, though the focal point has been Venezuela, a significant number, I think it's roughly half, of the boats that have been struck, it's always reported that they were struck in the eastern Pacific. Well, if you get out a map, you will determine that Venezuela doesn't have a coast on the Pacific. So unless they're going through the Suez Canal, which I kind of doubt, then these particular vessels are coming from somewhere else. The most likely place they're coming out of is Colombia, which has a very large narcotics issue. Now, for many years, of course, Colombia has cooperated with the United States to try to dampen down the export of narcotics out of Colombia. As tensions ratcheted up with Venezuela up until the raid on Caracas and the capture of Maduro, Mr. Trump was making some rather threatening remarks about President Porto, and Porto also was being very critical of the United States, even gave a speech in New York while he was there visiting the United Nations. Now, subsequently, in the last week or two, President Porto of Colombia has actually visited the White House, visited Mr. Trump in the Oval Office. There seems to be a distinct possibility of closer cooperation on this issue between the United States and Colombia. Whether this particular attack was some kind of cooperative venture based on intelligence perhaps provided by the Colombians, that right now is unknown.
Yeah. And the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, whatever we're calling him, Pete Hegseth, said that their goal is to remove narco-terrorists from our hemisphere. That term, narco-terrorists, we've all heard it. Is that a legal term, or is that just a term that the administration is using to define these people?
Well, I would call it the latter, because it's a fusion of two things. Narco, of course, is narcotics, but these are not terrorists. Terrorists are organizations like Al-Qaeda or like ISIS that have an ideology, they have a political agenda, and they use violence in an effort to, move the world in the direction they want to move it. Believe it or not, Al-Qaeda, with the attack on the United States on September 11, 2001, ideologically believed that kind of attack would cause a worldwide jihad against the United States and basically bring down the United States. That may sound far-fetched, but that's what they believe. So terrorists are people who use violence to enact an ideology. Yeah. These guys are criminals. Their goal in life is to make money, and therefore I think it's a bit of a confusion of terms.
Yeah. Is there indication, of course, when they went in and grabbed Nicolas Maduro, was there an indication that he had a direct connection to these narco-terrorists?
Yeah, that's what the administration's argument was, though there was never any clear evidence publicly presented to that effect. And furthermore, there's a real question whether he was orchestrating the movement of our narcotics or he was simply, lending a blind eye to those things that were occurring in Venezuela. Now, there was a large bounty on him for being involved in drug smuggling, a washing of money, and being cooperative in that particular case. But, now that he's been picked up, I think we're overlooking the fact there are similar bounties out for the Minister of Interior, who's still there in Venezuela and working, and the Minister of Defense.
Yeah, and many years ago, of course, when dictator Manuel Noriega was grabbed, that was a much, much larger military effort to grab him. Were you surprised how nothing is simple on something like this, but how quickly they seemed to grab Maduro without a huge military force as they did many years ago when they captured Noriega?
Well, the goal, I think, of the use of military force was different. You're quite right. It was, I think, about 26,000 troops overall went into Panama, but it was to take down the entire government and bring in a new government. And, of course, the United States had very, very vested interest in Panama because we were still, operating the Panama Canal. So that was part and parcel of that as well. In this case, the military operation went flawlessly, and as an old soldier, I have nothing but admiration for the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that participated in that. It was really extraordinary, but we can't allow, I like to say, tactical success to dazzle us from strategic implications. We haven't solved the problem of Venezuela unless we say all the problem of Venezuela emanated from this one guy, Maduro, and now that he's gone, everybody's going to be wonderful. I don't think that's necessarily the case. A lot of the people that were involved with Maduro, if he was, and probably was, in terms of drug smuggling or at least looking the other way or washing money or whatever, they're still there. The government basically is still there. Now they're being more cooperative, but they're still there. And the larger question about the future of Venezuela also hangs in the balance. And this is a country of 25, 30 million people, about the size of California. And whether or not this can then transition to something that's much more stable. About 8 million people have fled Venezuela in the last 5 or 10 years because of economic deprivation brought about by the mismanagement of the Maduro government. But again, that government's still largely intact.
Yeah. We've been talking with Colonel Jeff McCausland, I should say Colonel and Dr. Jeff McCausland, retired Army Colonel, military national security analyst, consultant, founder and CEO of Diamond 6 Leadership and Strategy. Colonel, as always, thank you for your service and thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. Colonel Jeff McCausland joining us here on the Afternoon Drive Show. We're about 25 seconds away from that CBS News brief at 6:30. When we come back, we're going to talk to Deb Hoyk. I can't remember if we had him on the show or not. He is publisher of the Pittsburgh Quarterly magazine, but he's also started a new organization called Pittsburgh Tomorrow. Check out the website, pittsburghpioneer.com. We'll talk to him coming up in just a few moments. But first, let's go to CBS News for the news brief.
CBS News Brief. A person seen on Nancy Guthrie's porch is wearing a holster, but former NYPD detective Kirk Burkhalter says,
Looks to be a generic holster as opposed to one that is designed specifically for that firearm. The individual is wearing it in the front. as opposed to the side.
According to newly unsealed documents, the raid on an elections hub in Georgia was part of an investigation into possible deficiencies or defects in the vote count in the 2020 election.
State officials in Georgia, including the Republican governor and Secretary of State, have defended the integrity of the 2020 election for years, noting that 3 separate counts confirmed that Joe Biden defeated President Trump in the state.
The National Governors Association has canceled a meeting with the president after he only invited Republican governors. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
It's the people's house. It's also the president's home. And so he can invite whomever he wants to dinners and events here at the White House.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
Pento Home Care Agency cares about you, your health, and what's best for your family. Pento Home Care is a family-owned and operated home care agency providing the convenience of personal care within your home. They'll work with your family and physicians to come up with the best plan of care for you. Pento offers personal assistance services and accepts all state waiver programs, private insurance, and private pay patients. Pento Home Care Agency has home health care available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and their experienced team of professionals provide expert care. Pento offers hospice care because they know how difficult and overwhelming a terminal illness can be by helping families through the challenging days with dignity and compassion. If you or a loved one need care or are looking for a career as a home health aide, please call them at 724-322-1683 or visit them online at pentohomecareagency.com.
Voted best in Fayette Auto Service and Tires, Tireman's Auto Garage is the place to go for tires. Worried about your tires passing state inspection or driving in winter weather? Tireman's Auto Garage has low prices on used tires, mounted and balanced to meet state inspection requirements. Whatever your tire needs, new or used, the cheapest prices and the best service are at Tireman's Auto Garage, with ASEMA leasing and SNAP financing available. Fully licensed and insured, Tireman's Auto Garage also offers disposable tire pickup service. Top automotive specialists, Tireman's Auto Garage services include diagnostic service, alignments, oil changes, state inspections, batteries, brakes, rotors, and more. Driven by Tireman's Auto Garage lately? Then you've seen the 2, 4, and 6-seater golf carts that are for sale, with ASEMA leasing available. Or ask Joe and Kim about rentals. Tireman's Auto Garage, with low used tire specials, cheapest prices on new tires, golf carts, and more. Tireman's Auto Garage, Mill Street, phone 724-425-9606.
In 1986, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville was started with a promise to provide clients with truthful, friendly, and courteous service. It worked. With an expanded client base, the Firestone Insurance Agency's customers are now able to choose from over 20 well-known insurance companies. So whether it be auto, home, business, or life, Firestone has you covered, and the promise to provide truthful, friendly, and courteous service is still in place. As an independent insurance agency, the Firestone Insurance Agency works for you. They do the shopping for you to save you time and a bunch of needless phone calls. Because let's face it, no one loves to shop for insurance. Call the office at 724-455-3900 or visit firestoneinsurance.net. Can't make it to Normalville? Let the Firestone Insurance Agency bring service right to your kitchen table. The Firestone Insurance Agency, 724-455-3900 or firestoneinsurance.net. Doing what is right for the customer, finding the most affordable rates while making sure there are no coverage gaps so you are fully protected from the unforeseen.
Now, you don't have to travel too far for medical marijuana products. Go to Local Leaf in Scottdale for a wide variety of locally grown and locally sourced products, plus your questions answered on medical marijuana, qualifying medical conditions, or how to register for your medical card. Local Leaf by PHG off Route 119 in Scottdale, 412-417-4964. Online at localleafpa.com. Local Leaf, your medical marijuana dispensary with locally grown and locally sourced products in Scottdale.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience featuring the hottest table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and an exciting variety of premium slots. And after, celebrate your big win with a juicy burger at the Royale while you watch the big game. Hotel packages available. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. The Casino at Nemacolin. Game on. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The only guy that made flute cool.
They had a liner during the Super Bowl pregame going to commercial. They had Jethro Tull playing.
Oh, did they really?
They did. I'm sure the producer said, you know what, Bad Bunny's great, but I'm going to slide in some Jethro Tull. They had Deep Purple as well. I like the pregame liner music.
Yeah. I don't know if we're ever going to see Jethro Tull and Deep Purple doing the halftime show.
No, not anymore. But I heard someone say since the game was in San Francisco, why not Jefferson Starship?
Oh, it could have been
Which
that.
are they even alive? God love them.
I saw Jefferson Starship at South Park last year. Really? Not the original. No, there's a few guys left, but why can't I think of her name? The lead singer, Grace Slick, was not there. But no, they didn't do bad. Well, they were Jefferson Airplane, then they were Jefferson Starship, then they were Starship with some really bad music.
Yeah.
Now they're back to.
They probably couldn't remember their name. They may have been under the influence in those years.
I saw an interview one time about Jefferson Airplane, and they said whoever Grace was sleeping with, they had the command of the band at that point.
Rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
What a business to get into. We're in the wrong business.
Yeah, we are in the wrong business.
Man, oh,
for
man.
heaven's sakes. Gee,
I mean, radio stars are popular, but not that popular.
Not that popular.
Yeah.
No. Not doing free concerts at South Park.
And not that we're radio stars. We're just guys on the radio.
Yeah, we're guys on the radio, and they're paying us minimum wage.
Wow.
Joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line, the publisher of Pittsburgh Quarterly, but also president and CEO of a new organization called Pittsburgh Tomorrow, Doug Hoyk. Doug, you and I have known each other for a long, long time. It's good to have you on the show here tonight. I saw you on a show just recently, a TV show, a TV talk show. You were talking about this. People say, Doug, how do you get guests' ideas? And I said, well, I steal them from other people. I think it's the only industry where you can absolutely plagiarize and there's no problem with it. So we're glad to have you on the show. How are you?
Well, great. Thanks, Doug. And it has been a long time, and I really appreciate the chance to be with you tonight. It's been a busy time with Pittsburgh Tomorrow.
It sure. At the first time we met, you did a fascinating report for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Press, I forget who it was, where you literally lived homeless for a few days.
Yeah, it was 1988, and it was the Pittsburgh Press.
Pittsburgh Press,
I was
wow.
a callow youth of 26, tired of being on the North Hills suburban desk where we wrote about roads, cops, taxes, schools, and sewers over and over again. Anyway, so I proposed something crazy and spent 2 weeks living on the streets. It was a great way to lose weight. Anyway, I need to do it again, but it was a fascinating thing, meeting a lot of people and telling their stories.
Well, I remember part of that story, and this is not why we're talking, but me, I always got on tangents, that to get some money while you were living on the streets, you decided to give blood or donate plasma or something, and the nurse who was withdrawing the blood said, well, you've got good veins, you're very healthy. And I have a feeling they probably don't see that a lot. Sadly.
No, you're right. You're right to remember that. They were amazed. Yeah, it was on Fifth Avenue, Blood Plasma Inc. They took blood out. They took out, I guess, the white blood cells and, and then put the stuff back in your arms. But yeah, they were all chattering about how healthy my veins were. It's kind of sad, but.
Yeah, that is, but I do remember that story. And
the one thing about that is after I came out of that place, they must have checked because I had an old Pittsburgh Press ID in my shoe. The late editor of the Pittsburgh Press, Angus McCarran, was sitting out front in his sunglasses and his kind of green Cadillac. And it was very reassuring because he was there just to see, keep an eye on what had happened to me.
To make sure you actually came back at some point. Well,
yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about not Pittsburgh yesterday, but Pittsburgh tomorrow. How about that for a transition? You're president and CEO of this group, in addition to your day job, we'll call it, of course, with Pittsburgh Quarterly. Let's talk about what this new organization is and the website pittsburghpioneer.com.
Yeah, so I came to Pittsburgh for a 12-week internship back in 1985, expecting to stay about that long. And after 10 years, Pittsburgh in those days was really in tough shape, flat on its back, kind of in shock, the loss of hundreds of thousands of jobs. And after 10 years, it appeared that I was going to be living here for a while. My wife's from Pittsburgh, and we had 3 little kids. And I went into the editor. The press had ceased to be after a Teamster strike, and I was now at the Post-Gazette. And I said, we've got all this circulation and all these reporters. We got to do something to try and help the area get on a ascendant path. And we came up with a benchmarking series, which I ran for literally 25 years, even after I left the paper through Pitt. And so I tracked the progress of this region in all sorts of statistical ways. And I spent a lot of time on it. And after 2008, when we came out of the Great Recession, it looked as if we were finally turning around. And then 4 or 5 years ago, it just became clear that we actually were kind of, in terms of demographics and economics, as bad off as ever. And the real problem was that in the mid-'80s, about 300,000 young people left, and they took their future children and grandchildren with them. And so we had kind of two dismal statistics for the region, which caused me to decide to start this thing. And one of them is that out of 387 metro areas in the U.S., we are number one in what's called natural population decline, more deaths than births. The numbers 2 and 3 are in Florida, and we're worse off than they are. And the other is that out of 16 comparable benchmark regions, the average 10-year job growth is 28%. Only one of those regions actually lost jobs and workers during that decade, and it was Pittsburgh. So I just had spent so much time on this that I personally didn't like to think that, it was all a losing effort. And I thought we had a lot of ingredients to really make this, honestly, the best place to live in the country. And I just thought we needed a bolder new effort, and I was just fool enough to, launch the thing. So our mission is to turn around, stop the population loss of the region, and kind of through reinvigorating the civic spirit and the economy. And we've got a bunch of programs, but that's the shortest possible answer. And I know it's not very short.
So it goes way back to that work you did many, many years ago. That's sort of interesting that it would that would go back that far. You talked about a 12-week internship in 1985. I had an internship for 12 weeks in 1985 with a congressman nobody ever heard of at the time, Tom Ridge. So it's funny how these internships and what they tend to do.
I didn't realize you were that old, Doug.
Can you believe it? I act childish. I think that's why most people think I'm younger. But that was that's when I first met Tom Ridge and. Many years ago, we joked I decided between working for him in Congress or Arlen Specter, and went to work for Arlen Specter for many years instead. But have Tom Ridge on this radio show, so what goes around, I suppose.
I was actually offered a job as Tom's chief speechwriter, the paper, and at the time he was being considered as the vice presidential, possibility for the first George Bush, and it really. I really thought hard about it. Anyway, didn't do it, but
yeah, no, you're right. He was had a long history with the Bushes. He was the Northwestern Pennsylvania chair of the Bush for President campaign in 1980. Tom Ridge was. He went back that far with the Bush family, and of course, that's what led to him becoming the first Secretary of Homeland Security under Bush II. We'll call it Bush II, I guess, is one way to describe it. You talked about what this region went through, not just the city of Pittsburgh, but this whole southwestern Pennsylvania region. My dad retired from U.S. Steel Clairton Works in 1985 after 30 years. He probably would have worked another 10 years at least. He retired at 55. A lot of guys were retiring young. They were given sweeteners to retire at the time. And I remember my dad retiring at 55, which was a shock. Nobody retired at 55 back then.
Right.
And but yeah, when I think one time I was probably in grade school, 85. I was a senior in college, but years earlier, my dad was flayed off at one point, and so I know he took me on purpose to back when you had to get your unemployment, go right to the unemployment office, and he took me there. I'm sure just so I would see what really happens in life. I was a kid, probably junior high, and I went with him to. I was old enough to stay home by myself, but he took me with him. And I think he wanted me to see, okay, this is what can happen, man. Get ready.
Right.
And so it was rather fascinating. When you take a look at how Pittsburgh took that hit, you talked about 300,000 people leaving and how many tens of thousands of jobs were lost along the Mon Valley and the Allegheny Valley. And you times that by 3 people, and you times that by how many suppliers lost their jobs because they were supplying, materials to the steel mills. Is it amazing that Pittsburgh ever came back when you think about the hit that this region took?
Yeah, and it's an unparalleled hit. I just, about a year ago, I edited a book written by a friend and longtime colleague, Jeff Fraser, for the RIDC, Regional Industrial Development Corporation, on their, I think, 70 or 75th anniversary. And even though I was here for that time, I had forgotten. It was shocking. One company would lay off 12,000 this week, next, and another with 14, then 22,000. I mean, it just was this unparalleled thing, and it was shocking. And it is a real tribute to the resilience of the people and the institutions and the leadership that we were able to patch something together. And it took the best efforts of a lot of people over decades. And clearly we were lucky that we had the residual wealth stores in the philanthropic foundations. But a lot of things were tried, and that's, we are this comeback story. A couple of things, not surprisingly, after 40 years of decline, we have been left on some level. I mean, there's, on one hand, you've got this resilience, and you've got the can-doers who are saying, we can find a way over this. On the other, interestingly enough, and this may or may not be very popular, but if you look at America as a place that, is home to, over centuries, risk takers, people who said, I can find a better life, and they came, wherever it is from, that's kind of part of our national character, this and what makes us more entrepreneurial. Pittsburgh, on some level, a brush, you had those 300,000 young people leave because they needed to, and they thought they could do better elsewhere. So part of the psychological challenge that we face, and part of what Pittsburgh Tomorrow is, it's a hearts and minds campaign. It's a we can do it campaign to get over the element of can't do that, has understandably set in certain places. I mean, we need to believe that even after all this decline and the scarcity mentality that has set in, understandably, that, we can create a future that has a good deal of abundance for everybody and possibility. So
when you think of an area like Hazelwood on the Mon River there, where back when it was called Jones and Laughlin Steel and then J&L, and you think about the Coke plant that was there, and now literally that's where they created autonomous vehicles, driverless vehicles. Imagine that happening over a 200-year span, let alone a 40-year span. When you think about the change. I remember many years ago when I first joined Arlen Specter staff in 1986, one of my first meetings with a guy named Frank Brooks Robinson. And, of course, he was one of the original president and founder of RIDC, Regional Industrial Development Corporation. And I remember him saying at this meeting, and he's looking at me, a young guy, I was like 22, 23. He said, if we don't pull this off, we're done. And he was right at the time when you think about that. And he was president of that organization for over 20 years. He said,
he did a great job with it. Yeah,
if we don't pull that off. And if you want to have your dog join our conversation, I've got no problem with that at all. That's the fun.
My wife was just pulling in with groceries.
That's the fun of live radio. We've got no problem with that sort of thing at all.
My dog is my secretary, but he's usually, anyway. Yeah, it's a fascinating challenge. We have 4 kind of broad programs, and we've done a lot of, hundreds of, if not several hundred conversations, and we've kind of boiled down our gambit to 4 main programs. One is, in no order of importance, one is Pittsburgh Tomorrow Corps, which focus on high school kids to get them involved and engaged with this area, in conservation programs and learning the history and, being on stage with the symphony and, being Jobs Day. Anyway, the idea there is it's a lot easier to get people to stay or come back than it is to get them to move here. And we want these kids to, identify with this area and say, this is my home and I'm proud of it and I'm going to take a hand in its future. And we really started that this year, and it's very gratifying because they still, believe they can change the world, and they love working with and getting to know kids from other schools. So that's one. The media and messaging, we have a kind of a group of 20 media outlets who have agreed to donate ad space and airtime to circulate the message and get people behind, the idea of I mean, we're trying to create a movement, really, get people in the whole region behind the idea of, getting the place, making it the best place to live in the world. We've got a welcoming, when you mentioned PittsburghPioneer.com, there are two ways of growing an area, and only two ways. One is to have more births than deaths, and that's not us for a long time. And the other is you've got to keep and attract more people than the number of people who leave. So we created this website, PittsburghPioneer.com, the first of its kind anywhere, because nobody really faces the problem as acutely as we do. It's an AI-powered concierge, getting newcomers or would-be newcomers, hooking them up with basic services, but also, social connections, because you have to find your tribe, so to speak. And that's been really exciting. We had a great billboard campaign in Times Square during the holidays. Your dog wants you to move to Pittsburgh, which created a lot of waves, and a lot of fun getting people to go to that website. It's in 80 languages. It's confidential, secure, all that stuff. The other part is a big bricks and mortar center, which we're going to open this year, because we find that in Pittsburgh, again, broad brush, it's known as being friendly but not welcoming, because we've all been here so long that we have our own social patterns and friends groups. So this newcomer center, we're not going to call it that, is something where people can come, and it's going to be a vibrant, place with all sorts of activities and fun things at night, and an internet coffee shop during the day where we connect people with various outfits. So those are the three, and then the fourth is probably the biggest, and we want to have a big conference with jobs and for social tourism and innovation. We're going to do that in connection with CMU and a bunch of other groups starting in September, and we hope to ultimately have a big pool of capital for startups and Series A to create jobs, because you got to have jobs. So that's what we're working on. It's keeping me busy, I'll tell you that.
When you mentioned 1985, that caught my attention. We have a group of friends, there's 10 of us, and we all went to grade school together, high school together. Most of us went to the same colleges, some of us did not. And so we came out of college in 1985. Of those 10, 8 moved out of town.
Yeah.
And a couple have moved back. I never moved out. I stayed here. But we were an example of what was going on. Half of our dads worked in the steel mills. Probably the other half either worked for PPG or Westinghouse. That's
sure.
how things work.
Well, I'm 1 year older than you are. I got out of college in '84, and you probably remember. I mean, many people our age around here at that time.
Right. Yeah. It was a different era. Yeah.
Our youngest son lives here. We have 3 kids and loves it. Our oldest son and his wife and little 1-year-old grandson, we think they're moving back in about a year. So that's exciting. And, it's a great place to be. We've had an anomalous obstacle to get over, but I think we actually have a lot of momentum now with the new mayor and a new spirit, the airport, the NFL draft, all that stuff. I believe actually we have some momentum for the first time in the last 15 or 20 years. And, it's exciting. We need to build on it.
Yeah, I have 4 daughters, and they're all in their 20s, and they all live local. And I'm very lucky.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they love it here. They don't want to move. They've made it very clear. One's already bought a house. They're married, and the others, I think they're getting close. They don't get me They don't get me some grandkids anytime soon. I keep telling them the first time I play peekaboo, I'll probably have a stroke. If they don't hurry up with the grandkids thing, for crying out loud. But,
well, you're our best hope for turning around the population losses.
Their mom and I are very lucky that they're all local. We never take that for granted. So. Doug Hoyt, thanks so much. We were also going to talk about Pittsburgh Quarterly Magazine, of course, your baby, but we'll do that next time. That'll give us another reason to have you back on sometime soon. And
thanks a lot,
we'll
Doug.
Talk about that.
Great to talk to you.
All right, take care. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Doug Hoyt joining us again, President and CEO of Pittsburgh Tomorrow. Check out the website, pittsburghtomorrow.org. There's also pittsburghpioneer.com. Check out those websites. We're going to take a break. We come back. We're going to hit that 7 o'clock news at the top there. We're talking sports. Bob Grove Penguins, Greg Brown on on pitchers and catcher report week for the Pittsburgh Pirates in Bradenton. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Sapienza, WMBS's Morning Man, here to remind you of the letters for this week's Name It and Claim It scrambled word game. We're into double-digit territory once again. It's 10 letters in this week's puzzle, and even 10. Let's see if you can unscramble these into a proper word. The letters this week are as follows. T as in table, A as in accurate, R as in run, E as in electronic, B as in bed, H as in hat, O as in ostrich, T as in train, R as in ring, and H as in honor. Those letters make up one word. You must use all the letters in your answer. No proper names, please. You want to get in on this week's contest? I'm sure you do. So here's what you got to do to enter. Just send in your answer along with your name, address, and phone number to Name It and Claim It, WMBS Radio, 44 South Mount Vernon Avenue, Uniontown, Pennsylvania, 15401. Or if you really feel like it, you can drop your answer off personally here at the WMBS Broadcast House at that very same address. But either way, make sure your cards get in by no later than Thursday, February 12th at 4 in the afternoon. The prize you're playing for this week is a Valentine's Day prize pack. That includes a $25 gift certificate to Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop and 4 tickets to see the film Glory at the State Theater in Uniontown on Friday, February 20th. Enter as many times as you like. No purchase is necessary because it's all from us, your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
WMBS.
That is Pinball Wizard, not by Elton John, but by The Who. You know, usually when you have someone doing both songs,
Did Elton John do a version of that?
He did it for Tommy, the rock opera.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, great video from that rock opera.
Yeah, there was.
You showed that to me.
I saw that when I was a teenager, and it turned me into a man. And if you ever seen that movie, there's a scene with Anne Margaret. I can't describe on the radio.
You were going to be a priest, but that ended
Wow, that ended that one very, very quick. CBS News coming up, World News Roundup, late edition coming up, followed by the local forecast. Don't forget sports tonight, Pitt and Duke, pregame at 8:30. Stick around.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. The FBI has released surveillance images of a masked person at Nancy Guthrie's front door the day she went missing. CBS's Andreas Gutierrez is in Tucson.
The investigators keep coming back to the fact of how prepared this person looks. You could see someone who is masked, someone who is wearing these distinctive gloves, who is carrying a distinctive backpack moving straight toward Nancy Guthrie's door.
Anna Schechter has more on the timing of the release of the video.
We're 10 days out, and we know that technology companies were working with law enforcement. So it took them this long to obtain this image because an initial search of the surveillance camera footage did not yield an image like this.
The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for information. Now to Capitol Hill, where congressional Democrats stood beside Epstein survivors and introduced Virginia's law, new legislation that removes statutes of limitation on sex traffickers. This as lawmakers are getting a look at newly released files associated with the late sex offender. Danny Bensky is a survivor.
The incompetence is the strategy here. This idea of throwing all the survivors' names out there. So now they're pulling documents offline to now redact. So we actually don't know what is being pulled down for our lawyers to work on and what is being pulled down for other reasons.
CBS's Jim Krasula on why some New York City activists are upset.
The National Park Service has stopped flying a rainbow flag at the Stonewall National Monument in Manhattan's Greenwich Village. Some see it as a symbolic swipe at the country's first national monument to LGBTQ plus history. The Park Service says it's simply complying with recent guidance from the Trump administration over flag policies.
President Trump is threatening to block the opening of a new bridge between Ontario and Detroit. He said it was built mostly with non-American materials. He's not happy with that. And Michigan truck driver Josh Kramer agrees.
We got people that need the money as bad as they need the money. Their people come over here every day, come work over here, and they go back home with this money. They don't spend that money over here. So I think they need to give us that money.
The Seattle Seahawks are celebrating their Super Bowl win with a victory parade tomorrow. Laura Nozak says she'll be there.
I told my manager, though, way before we even went to the Super Bowl, I said if we win, I'm not coming in on whatever day the parade follows.
Officials estimate up to 1 million people could attend the parade tomorrow. Parade start time is at 11 a.m. local time. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS? Whether it's due to job loss, a divorce, a new business venture, or you just didn't file your taxes, don't lose hope. Powerful relief programs are now available that can help you and may reduce or even eliminate what you owe the IRS. With the cost of living affecting millions across the country, Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying anyone with $5, $50, or even $500,000 in back taxes to the IRS to call to get relief options. With over 1,000 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, TRA is America's trusted choice for real tax relief. Relief options are now available that can give you a fresh start and peace of mind. End your tax nightmare today by calling our tax relief hotline. Dial 800-390-8432. 800-390-8432. That's 800-390-8432. Or visit TRA.com. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
A Grammy winner has left the Wasserman Talent Agency after its CEO was named in the Epstein files.
Casey Wasserman has acknowledged his series of sexually suggestive emails with Epstein confidant Ghislaine Maxwell in 2003. He has not been accused of any wrongdoing. Chappell Roan said in an Instagram post, no artist, agent, or employee should be expected to defend or overlook actions that conflict so deeply with their own moral values. Los Angeles leaders have called on Wasserman to resign as chairman of the 2028 LA Olympics, but the IOC's vice president says she has full trust in Wasserman. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The International Skating Union has some strict dress code rules for Olympic figure skaters. The ladies aren't allowed to wear anything that's too sheer. Judges can deduct points for it, or if they have a wardrobe malfunction on the ice. No dangling crystals, fringe, or beads either, because they can be a safety hazard. And for the men, pants are mandatory. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Your local station, WMBS, and now the weather watch for all of southwest Pennsylvania. Right now, I'm still reading at 52 degrees. I'm guessing, Doug, can we get an official reading? Maybe yours is more official. I think it's a little chillier than that, but we went up into the 50s today. Go ahead, Doug.
51 degrees.
It is still in the 50s. Wow. All right, so we're still in the 50s with the overnight low tonight down to freezing at 32, but today, warmest day we've had in quite some time, going up to just 36 for a Wednesday. Tomorrow with a chance of flurries, low in the evening at 26. Cloudy skies Thursday, high at just 30, warming up a bit again to 40 Friday. For the weekend, warm up to 51 on Saturday with sunny skies, but a low at 26. Chance of rain Sunday at 52 and 51 on Monday. But right now, I'm reading 52 degrees at 7:05. 55 on this Tuesday evening. Feels like we're in the upper 40s outside of our Davis and Davis studios in Uniontown. Yes, Doug?
Well, we're looking here at a severe weather alert for Ohio, Powell, and Somerset.
All right.
Light freezing drizzle expected. Total ice accumulation, a light glaze to a few hundredths of an inch.
Oh, boy. Be on the lookout.
Hundredths of an inch. Portions of southwestern, western Pennsylvania, northern West Virginia from 3 a.m. This morning to 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow morning, I should say, I guess, on Wednesday. Roads and especially bridges and overpasses will likely become slick and hazardous. So keep that in mind if you're up on the ridges.
Thank you, Douglas. From the Severe Weather Center, now back to the breaking news desk. Doug Saltzman, Nick Barczyk combining for that weather report. So, yes, if you're up at Ohio Pile, be on the lookout. And this is your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, W266DB, WMBS Uniontown. From Ohio Pile to Milan, Italy. It's now time for an Olympic update on WMBS.
This 2026 Winter Olympics update is brought to you by Zebley Law Office. Are holiday bills and credit card debt collections weighing you down? Call Zebley Law today for a free consultation to see if they can provide help for you. 724-439-9200.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games, sponsored by Grainger. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. Ilya Malinin, the so-called quad god, is this year's U.S. Olympic figure skating star. He already was the difference in the U.S. winning team gold. He is the overwhelming favorite in the men's all-around, and he came out of today's short program with the lead. Now it's on to the free skate, which is on Friday. A stunning score from women's hockey. Yes, the U.S. beat Canada 4 times last fall in exhibition games, and yes, Canada was today without its best player, Marie-Philippe Poulin, but still, you don't expect a 5-0 U.S. victory. Canada had never before been shut out in an Olympic game. The U.S. is now 4-0 by a combined score of 20-1. The gold medal game in mixed curling came down to the last rock. Sweden, with a brother-sister team, won 6-5. The U.S. team settles for silver. John Stanschauer, Westwood One Sports.
Are holiday bills flooding your mailbox? Are high credit card payments keeping you from paying basic living expenses? Are utilities threatening shutoffs? Are creditors constantly calling? Will you use your entire tax refund to pay creditors? If your answers are yes, call Zebley Law Office for a free in-person consultation to discuss your situation. We are the experts, trusted for 40 years to provide debt relief. Call Zebley Law Office today at 724-439-9200. At Zebley Law Office, we're here to help.
This 2026 Winter Olympics update was brought to you by Zebley Law Office. Attorney Charles Zebley and team are ready to help you get your finances in order and get your life back on track. Call them today at 724-439-9200.
As loved ones age, it's important to make sure that they're getting the care and attention that they need. Hillside Manor Personal Care Home aims to make your loved ones as comfortable as possible while still receiving superior care. 4 specialized levels of care and the services of an on-site certified registered nurse practitioner means that care is personalized on an individual level. At the same time, residents can enjoy a hospitable environment. Themed after a small town, the interior of Hillside Manor features a 50s-style diner, movie theater, and common areas. High-priority safety and security measures ensure the safety and protection of all residents and staff members 24 hours a day, and friends and family are encouraged to make frequent visits. If you're looking for a clean, friendly, and safe place for your loved ones, look no further. Hillside Manor Personal Care Home is ready to meet your needs. Call 724-439-2273 for more information. They look forward to meeting you.
Don't miss out on Economy Furnace's end-of-season sale. It's the perfect time to upgrade your home's heating system with incredible savings. Take $250 off any furnace replacement, ensuring you stay warm and comfortable all winter long. For qualified buyers, we're offering 0% financing, making it simple to invest in a new energy-efficient furnace. We proudly partner with Amana, bringing you the highest quality furnaces on the market. At Economy Furnace, we define excellence in every aspect of our business, from our expert technicians to our customer-focused approach. With Economy Furnace, it's not just a furnace, it's peace of mind. Our end-of-season sale provides unmatched value, combining affordability with premium quality. Economy Furnace is committed to excellence. Our team of qualified professionals is ready to ensure your home stays warm and comfortable throughout the year. Contact us at 724-438-4575 to learn more.
For economy, price, and quality service, call Economy Furnace.
Coming up in about 5 minutes, maybe we'll go to him a little early. Bob Grove's going to join us. How do you introduce Bob Grove?
Preeminent Penguins and hockey historian.
Is that what it is?
Why not? I think that's anything with preeminent. I like that word.
I'm listening to a Penguin pregame show, and Paul Steigerwald, who I think is very good. When you think about his career,
yeah, he is.
He did both on radio, color commentary and play-by-play, and on TV, color commentary and play-by-play.
Right, and that's hard to do as a non-athlete.
And
do color
I
commentary.
always thought the fans' criticism was not warranted.
Oh, fans being critical of anything?
Can you imagine?
What a shock.
Yeah, and the fact that he stuck around, and I think he does a nice job. But the other day, this pregame show, and I was telling Bob this off the air, they were trying to come up with some stat. Who would he have done the pregame show with? It doesn't matter. And he said, I can't think of what I'm trying to think of here. And the other guy couldn't. He said, Bob Grove would know.
Oh, of course. And I'm sure he texts them and they got it. Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, he is. He's got a great, if you follow on X, it's one of those, if you don't follow anybody, follow him. He's got, during games, he'll give you incredible stats.
Yeah, he just loves hockey. You can tell. He's so passionate.
And that wasn't what he did for a living.
No.
He was worked at Comcast for many years. He's now retired. And he does our show here.
That's right. We're honored. I mean, think of the people we have on. I don't know how you're paying these people off, but Rocky Blyer, Steve Blass, Bob Grove, Greg Brown. Well, I guess Greg is works for. We're an affiliate, so Greg maybe
John
feels
Kolb.
obligated. I kid. They want to come on. Yeah, John Kolb, former Steeler.
Joe Green has agreed to be on the show.
Is that right?
We have to figure out a time.
Joe Green.
Yeah.
You mean that Joe Green?
That
who
Joe
played
Green.
For the Steelers.
Yeah, not my old neighbor,
Who
Joe
won
Green.
4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, we had a neighbor, Joe Green.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We called him Mean Joe Green growing up. And
Joe Green is a legend. My dad, a few years ago, said, maybe I'll get a jersey. I go to Steeler games. Everyone's wearing a jersey. I'm not really into jerseys. He said, if there's one jersey I'll ever wear, it's Joe Green's.
I think, if I got one, it'd probably be Rocky Blyer, just because he's been on the show a lot.
He said that was a second choice, yes.
Blyer, Ham.
Bradshaw. I mean, it didn't end well, but I love Terry. He's great.
Oh, yeah. And he's a hoot still to this day.
Maybe the best arm in football history. Or Dan Marino, local boy.
He
one
could
of
throw
those two.
past 40 yards that you swear didn't get 15 feet off the ground.
Oh, amazing.
He could.
And the people that say he got lucky to win those Super Bowls because he was on great teams, of course, you know what? He was awesome. And better than Staubach. Every ranking I read has Staubach better. No, Bradshaw was the best. Not, maybe the best arm ever. Not, he didn't win as much as Brady or was maybe as clutch as Montana, but he's a legend.
When you think people said he wasn't that bright, he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yes, he's been on TV every week for 30 years. He's doing just fine.
Right.
Probably made more in 1 year of TV than he did his whole career playing football.
I'm sure he is.
Same with a lot of those older guys, Howie Long and the like.
It's got to drive him crazy, the guys who didn't get on TV.
Right.
Jerome Bettis got on for a little bit.
He did.
And didn't last long, I remember. He
got
replaced
he does
by
local stuff now.
Former Pittsburgh player and coached the Colts.
Oh, Tony Dungy.
He replaced him, I think, in that role.
He's still on.
But
Cam Hayward was on the Super Bowl pregame on NBC. That was cool. Maybe he'll get into broadcasting when he hangs it up. I think he'll come back for maybe one more year.
Yeah, we talked earlier about the
He'd be a good guy to get on.
The Super Bowl. It was early on. My nephew Chris said, "Are they going to give the MVP to the kicker?"
They might have to. I mean, thank God that running back had a few big runs.
Yeah,
because the quarterback Darnold, it's so traditional. Yes, the winning team, it goes to the quarterback, but he didn't have an MVP level game. The running back certainly did Walker, so I'm glad he got it.
And I'm not sure if the kicker had MVP, but when you're scoring all the points,
when you have 5 field goals,
who else are you going to give it to? And I guess they got sacked 7 times. It tied the Steeler record.
Right, and a kicker made the Hall of Fame, Adam Vinatieri, and everyone's freaking out. He kicked multiple game-winning kicks in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yes, he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Is he as instrumental as the quarterback or the head coach? No, but come on, he belongs.
That's one of those goofy stats, the way you ask it. What African-American Pittsburgh Steelers scored the most points in Steeler history? Gary Anderson.
Oh, Gary Anderson.
He was from South Africa.
Oh, I see.
Even though he was white, Caucasian.
I was going to say Roy Girella, but I didn't. No.
Yeah, no.
Gary Anderson, you're right.
Like, should he be in the Hall of Fame? I mean, my gosh, he set the record. Have 2 brothers setting the records.
Yeah, Morton was his brother.
Yeah,
great name.
Crazy. And of course, they were soccer players back in the day. Pitchers and catchers showed up at Bradenton. I guess they came up a little early because of the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, that's right. That's this year.
Also arriving in Bradenton will be a guest that will join us in about, what's this? Let me figure out the math here. 25 minutes. Greg Brown, everybody, will join us And we did have to negotiate that, and we'll talk about that coming up and agreeing to be on today. But coming up now, just as soon as Nick can dial the numbers, why don't we go to
ready?
him? Let's go to him a little early. Why not?
There's his number.
Just for fun.
And I'm to dial this and not say it on the air.
Yeah, don't say it on the air. And if you could dial those 10 numbers in the order I gave them to you.
Is that negotiable, or do I have to do that?
No, you can't box the number like you do with. Do they still box things in the daily number?
I don't think so.
They don't do that with what's that called, the lottery?
That's before my time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you had 1, 2, 3, if you boxed it, you could get any order. Do they still do that?
Doug,
they're a big sponsor here. I guess I should know these rules, but I'm not a lottery player.
Oh, the PA lottery, yes.
Yeah.
Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must
every
be 18
day.
years or older.
They used to say senior citizens every day, but
they went to older
Pennsylvanians. You know, I'm 62. I'm both old and I'm a senior citizen at this point.
That's right. Senior citizen.
I'm eligible for Social Security.
And you get the senior coffee at Eden Park, more importantly.
At 55, I got the senior rate at Kennywood. That alone, although I'm not a typical senior, I'll go on every ride that Kennywood has. Although I'll take anything. I've bungee jumped, I've skydived, I do any roller coaster. The little teacups that spin in circles, that can just about do me in. But we're going to talk Penguin here at the break. Sometimes we talk about the All-Star break, but right now we'll talk about the Olympic break. They haven't played. NHL players have not played in quite a while, 12 years, more than that, I forget. But joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line, the preeminent, that's the term Nick wants me to use, the preeminent Penguin and NHL hockey historian, Bob Grove. Can you live up to that, Bob, the preeminent historian when it comes to hockey? I'm not even sure if I know what that word means, but it sounds cool, and I'll go with what the producer says.
Sounds good.
Well, I will try, Doug. It's great to be on with you, as always.
Yeah, we as you know, very serious. We take these interviews all the time. And
sports are very serious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sports and rock and roll. Nick and I have decided that's all we're going to talk about from now on our show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the break. We haven't had an Olympic break sometime in hockey. Why do you think the NHL went away from allowing their players to play in the Olympics?
Well, I think the league was always thinking about, the effect that the break had on its momentum during a season, and certainly there's no, everybody understands the owners and would rather probably not do this, but the players, they're the ones that really made it happen, and it was a negotiating tactic for them to really make sure that they got back to the Olympic Games. And I think the teams were probably not as loud about it, and the league was listening to them for sure. And also, I think there was some indication that the International Ice Hockey Federation, who would be putting on the hockey competition for the Olympics, they don't always see eye to eye with the NHL. So I think it was a combination of things. They'd gone over here, they'd done it. Then they just took a step back, and now they've committed to a longer-term relationship with the Olympics. So it's good. The players are excited, and it should be one heck of a tournament.
And it brings attention, of course, to the sport, especially for women's hockey. I think it really does bring attention to women's hockey. Apparently,
how about that women's team?
The women's
USS,
team,
man,
they're 5-0 in the Olympics so far, outscoring their opponents 20-1.
Beat Canada 5-0.
Beat Canada 5-0, right? But I think anything that brings attention to the sport is a good thing. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. These aren't exactly exhibition games, but you lose a top player for a team, and the town is going to hate the Olympics, no doubt. But let's get back to the Penguins. And Nick, you wanted to jump in.
Just real quickly, for people who watch the NHL, Bob, but maybe haven't watched Olympic hockey in a while or ever, what are some of the similarities and differences between the NHL play and the Olympic hockey play that you see?
Well, it's going to be, most of these rosters are, the top teams. When you go down through, the U.S., Canada, Sweden, Finland, Czech, most of the players are NHL players, and they're playing on basically NHL rinks. And most of the officials are going to be NHL officials, not all, but most of them. So I don't think you're going to see anything different. I mean, the thing to have watched if you had a different size rink, and the rink in Milan was there was a lot of attention paid to all the problems they had with constructing it, how late it was getting done, and it's 3 feet shorter than it's supposed to be. But that's not enough to make a difference. So you've got pretty much an NHL-sized rink where the main games are going to be played. The other one's fine. You're going to have mostly NHL players. So I don't think really you should be looking at anything too different in terms of the style of play.
And now our man, Sidney Crosby, playing for Team Canada. If he wins the gold here, which they're favored to do, right? What does this do for his legacy, and are they the favorite, Canada?
Oh, well, I think they're the favorite. I mean, look, as Doug mentioned, we haven't had the NHL at the Olympics since 2014, and Canada won it then. That was, many think, the greatest defensive team they've ever seen. I mean, they just gave up nothing. And in 2010, Canada won that. That's where Sid had the goal in Vancouver that everybody will remember forever. And Canada won it in 2002. Sweden won it in 2006. So if you just look at the history of it, yeah, I mean, Canada's going to be the favorite. The question with Canada right now is the goaltending. And what will it mean for Sid's legacy? I mean, they've got, let me stop. I'm trying to go two different places here. The goaltending, Binnington is going to be Canada's starter, and he's just having an awful season. Right. So I think everyone looks at this Canadian team, and that's the big, giant question mark is, are they going to get the goaltending that they need in this tournament? We will see, because he played in the Four Nations tournament, and he was tremendous. He was absolutely fantastic in that last year. And so they'll hope that he can recapture that. But to get back to Sid, look, he's done it all, including Olympic golds and golds that win Olympic golds. So it'll just cement, the legacy isn't going to change, win or lose. But I mean, it just seems like he never loses on the international stage. Now, he went over to the World Championships last year and they lost, but Sid's, look, if you think about all the players that have been in the Triple Gold Club, you won the Cup, the World Championships, and Olympic Gold of all those players, and he's one of them. And there's a number of them, but it's not a huge number. He's the only one who's captained all three teams. I mean, his international legacy, just like his general legacy, is just immense. And he is very, very focused on getting it done again, and he'll be the leader that Canada is relying on. Yeah. I wouldn't bet against them.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, of course, Canada, Sweden, USA are packed with NHL players. France, on the other hand, has one NHL player, Alexander Texier from the Canadians. That's got to be bizarre for someone like him. Now, he's going to have good players around him, playing European players, of course, but that's still got to be odd. Suddenly you're playing with these guys who may not be close to your level, or certainly not close to the level of NHL players. Italy gets an automatic bye, I guess, because they're the host team. They don't have any NHL players.
No.
And I question how many Italian hockey players there are playing in Europe. So it's got to be interesting for some of these guys, and almost taking it easy with some of their teammates, I would think, at times.
Well, look, these guys live for this stuff. So, everybody wants to, if you're on one of the teams like you're talking about, like a France, I mean, your idea is to try and pull off an upset along the way. I mean, you don't have the skill and the depth to go anywhere in the competition. And Texier he's turned his season around, going to Montreal. He's been very good for them. That's what makes this fun. I mean, there are going to be some upsets along the way, and maybe that's what those guys are hanging their hat on. Like, can we get it together for 60 minutes one night against some team we're not supposed to beat? But yeah, when it comes down to it, it's just going to be Canada, the U.S., Finland, Sweden. Those are the teams that are, one of those is going to win it.
Yeah, the Penguins are in the Metropolitan Division, of course. Earlier in the season, they were down at the bottom. They've had a bizarre season. A 5-game home losing streak. I don't know if that's ever happened before. They had 5 games in a row at home. Then they have a 6-game winning streak. Nick and I went to probably their worst game of the season the other night.
That Ottawa game.
The Ottawa game. We're taking full blame for their poor performance that night. But now they're in second place. I mean, I don't know if anybody could have predicted they'd have this turnaround. And it just, but they still can't get past that overtime losses. It's amazing to have 12 overtime losses. I get a point, thankfully, but it's been a strange season, hasn't it?
Well, strange in the sense of what you said. It wasn't expected from this group. I mean, that's what's. It's strange in a great way for Penguins fans. Obviously, I mean, nobody saw this kind of a season coming. I mean, they're 8th overall in the NHL, and they're 8 points out of first place and sitting in second right now in the Metro. And since the Christmas break ended, they've been one of the best teams, one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the league. And they've just, a lot of things have come together for them under Dan Muse. I mean, Muse has been good, the way he preaches the puck support, the way he distributes the ice time. He's had a big, big impact on the way this is going. I mean, He's read his goaltenders right. He's got both of them playing. But I mean, when I think about what the Penguins have accomplished, and they've accomplished a lot, but there's still 26 games to go. So there's a long way to go, and especially a busy month in March, a really busy March because of the condensed schedule. But so many things have gone right for them all at the same time. So you pointed out one of the things that's been a problem, which is when they get beyond regulation, they don't win very often. And that while that's true, they're still getting points.
Right, 12 points.
In those games. They're getting the loser points. I mean, so they've had more. I mean, back in 05-06, when they started it, they started the shootout, they had 14 of those games. So they've got 12 right now, but here's the other way to look at it. There's only 4 teams in the league who have fewer regulation losses than the Penguins. Wow. So the Penguins are getting at least something out of 3/4 of their games. And the goaltending between Shelovs and Skinner has been very good. Yeah. I mentioned the puck support, the emergence of the fourth line with Achari, and those guys have been, the Penguins haven't had a fourth line like that for some time. The Penguins special teams, they're the only team in the league where both special teams are in the top 4 in the league. Right now their penalty killing is 3rd, their power play is 4th. Like I said, Muse is balanced at the ice time. Malkin has come back and played great, much better than he played last season. Erik Karlsson is a completely different player. He's been completely rejuvenated by the whole system they're playing, which is more on a little bit of puck support. It's not just going north-south all the time. It's getting the puck to people who can advance it and skating with it and making plays with it, and that's more to his liking. The guys they've added, you can go look at Chinikov they got, from Columbus. He's been terrific for them, especially with Malkin. Wotherspoon, very, very good. I don't think anyone expected that. And certainly no one expected Ben Kindle to make the team and drive play the way he's done as a center on the 3rd line. So there's a bunch of things that have all gone right for the Penguins to put them in this position. And that said, they're going to have to continue to play like this because things are tight. They're sitting 2nd right now, but, you lose 4 or 5 in a row the way the league is right now, you're in trouble.
It's looking good for them now, Bob, but if you had to bet, is this team, if they do make the playoffs, can they win a series? They haven't now for a while. Would you bet on them to win a playoff series right now if you had to?
Yeah, I can see that. I could. Because I think right now the odds are, look, they've been doing this now for a long time. We're 56 games into the season, and they're sitting 2nd. So this isn't a fluke anymore. This is the real thing that they've got going. And I think they can get to the playoffs. And the way the teams are stacking up, if you look at the standings, they've got a real good chance to play, probably, if you had to guess, you'd say Islanders or Capitals. And, the Capitals have taken a little bit of a step back this season. The Islanders have been very good. Schaefer, the young defenseman, has just turned their outlook completely around. But, they lost to the Islanders here, about 2 weeks ago in a game that they outplayed them and should have won, but they lost. But, so that's one of the things they've got to fix, the Penguins. They just can't close out games, and that's what successful playoff teams do. I wouldn't say, they're definitely going to win a round. I think they're going to get in the way they're playing, and they absolutely could win a round if they get in as the 2 or the 3 in the Metro. If they get in as a wild card and have to play a division champion, no, they're not going to get a playoff round. So right. The big thing for them is to get in, finish either 2nd or 3rd.
Talking with Bob Grove. And Bob, as we wrap up here, we've talked Olympic hockey, NHL. How about some college? I've been very fascinated on your opinion on Gavin McKenna for Penn State. He's had some off-the-ice issues. We won't get into that. But just on the ice when you watch him, I'm sure you've watched him and analyzed him. What do you like about his game? And just if you could, give us a breakdown on McKenna's play.
Well, yeah, and it's so great to see Penn State get him, and it just has put them on the map. They get to the Frozen Four last year, then they land him, then they have the outdoor game, get a lot of attention for this. This is a kid that just has a great vision on the ice, and he understands. He not only has the skills, but he understands the game and the way things go, and he's playing through it a little bit this year for sure. The first couple months of the season, he wasn't at his best, I don't think. But he's had a couple of breakout games where he's looked, and one of them was in the outdoor game where he's looked more like the guy you thought that was going to dominate. And I still think he's going to end up going 1st overall. in the draft this coming summer. But just a kid who's got the skills package, he's got the speed. But for me, I think if there's some of the intangibles there, just his vision of the game, his understanding of the game, make him a guy that's someone's going to be real happy with having him on their NHL roster in the years to come.
Yeah, as a Penn Stater, it's nice to see that. When I was at Penn State had a hockey club. They didn't have a NCAA team back in those days, and what a change, of course, that has made. It's good to see. Yeah, the outdoor games, of course, too.
The best.
Gets a lot of attention. Bob Grove joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. As always, Bob, we appreciate your taking time. You don't have to do this. It's nice of you to join us. We have a good time with it.
Doug and Nick, great to be on with you as always.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. Enjoy the Olympics. Thanks.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks. What a guy. The best.
Good guy. He really is. We were going to go to the news update, but I thought it might be better to spend more time talking to Bob Grove.
Exactly. Who needs to know what's going on in the world? We need Bob Grove to break down hockey for us, and now we'll talk baseball, the really important things in life.
That's right. It's. I was listening to another station the other day, and somebody was saying, the Pens aren't as good as they say. They're only 2 games over 500, which is such nonsense. 29, 15, and 12. The 12 overtime losses are not just losses. No. You get points for those.
I think I know the station you're talking about. They don't know anything about hockey. Don't listen to that station. They don't know much about the other sports, if you ask me.
Yeah, but that's silly. They only have 15 regulation losses, as Bob said. There's only a couple teams with fewer losses.
No, they're playing better than expected, which if you're a fan, you should be happy about that. Oh, they should have tanked and gotten a lottery pick. The odds of you getting McKenna after you got Mario and Sid are slim.
Right.
Try to win a playoff series. It's been a while since you won one.
Heck, we haven't been in it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the last incarnation maybe of Sid, Letang, and Malkin.
30 years. 3 years without playoffs?
For the Penguins, that's like 30.
I forget.
3 now.
3 now, yeah.
But yeah, with Sid, Malkin, Letang, their time's running out, and these young kids, Avery Hayes, Ben Kindle, it's been fun to watch them. The goaltending's been better than expected.
Yeah, the goaltenders.
Yeah, they shipped Jory out, brought Skinner
when I said
in.
about these overtime losses, but that's just frustrating. It's just
facts
weird.
Are facts. Yeah.
How they can't see, get there.
I don't get it.
But of course, as I'll say now for the 9th time, I think Nick and I were at the game where they played the worst game of the year, and that's our fault.
Absolutely.
Not bad though for a 3-2 loss to play your worst game ever.
There's that.
Not quite ever, I guess.
No,
just
this season, but
of the season.
We'll try to avoid a Pirate games this summer because we're bad luck for that too, I guess.
Yeah, they tend to lose more than the Penguins do.
They do.
We have speaking of Pirates, we have spring temperatures today. We thought let's talk baseball, but pitchers and catchers have showed up in Bradenton for the Pirates. I guess they got there a little earlier because of the World Baseball Classic. So coming up here in a few moments, we're going to check with Greg Brown, everybody, who just arrived in Bradenton today. We'll talk about the negotiation to get him on the show today.
He put his underwear away.
I think he did. He unpacked, and we'll talk about that coming up. And it seems like the time is over with McCutchen on the team. I don't know. Will he be a player manager? I don't think so. Maybe a batting coach.
I think Pete Rose was the last one.
I think you're right.
That didn't end well for Pete.
Yeah, he was the last player manager with the Reds, and only Pete Rose could do that.
Right. I think Bill Russell was a player coach in the NBA in the 60s, if you really want to go back.
Yeah, but I could see if unless Kutch is upset, he could be there for spring training helping
he's
guys.
Upset if you read his social media.
Yeah, it's just bad PR.
I don't know who's more at fault. I mean, perhaps the blame lies with McCutchen.
There's always more to the story, and I know Greg. People say, "Oh, what's Greg going to say?" Well, he works for the Pirates for one thing. That's his employer.
Right. They're on his check. I always tell people that say he's too soft, or announcers who work for teams are too soft. Well, the logo of the team's on their check, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're not pushovers. If the team's playing poorly, they say it. They do.
And back when they wore Blazers, it said the team on the Blazers.
Right.
As well. Let's take a break. We come back. Greg Brown's going to join us, and then we're with you till 8:30. In the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to Chris Moore. Chris, of course, has been on radio, TV, both public television and local TV as well. He's retiring. I think he's got one more radio show, which I'm scheduled to be a guest on, and we'll talk to him about his career. But that'll be at about 8:15 tonight. We'll wrap up the show with him. Pitt and Duke Blue Devils play tonight. We'll go to that pregame show at 8:30. But first, this is the late edition of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS.
Looking for a fireplace? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is more than your plumbing supply store. We specialize in fireplaces of all fuel types, such as gas, wood, pellet, and electric. We're now featuring Harmon pellet stoves from Forge and Flame, perfect for keeping your family warm and cozy. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com to start planning for the winter season. Koval Building Supply, everything you need to make your house feel like home.
For professional cleaning services, Clean and Shine in New Stanton is the place for you. They provide commercial and residential cleaning, porter services, carpet cleaning, stripping and waxing, construction cleanups, and car cleaning. For free estimates, call 724-691-0413, email info@cleanandshine14.org, or visit their website, cleanandshine14.org. We clean so you can shine.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the better business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
There's only one best lunch spot in Uniontown. Titlo Tavern and Grill on West Main Street, serving 8-ounce Reubens, foot-long cheesesteaks and subs, half-pound handmade burgers, plus pizza, calzones, strombolis, pepperoni rolls, and fresh salads like Greek, antipasto, salmon, steak, and chicken. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 9, Friday till 10, Saturday 2 to 10. Dinner and happy hour specials nightly, and private parties are welcome. Call 724-437-6749. Titlo Tavern and Grill.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States is right here in Fayette County. Don't miss your chance to tour Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture that's included on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Falling Water invites you to Fayette County Appreciation Day on Sunday, March 22nd, as they offer free tours for all Fayette County residents. Book your free tour of Falling Water in advance by calling 724-329-8501. Tours will take place between 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Sunday, March 22nd. Be sure to make your reservation in advance and don't miss your chance to tour Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture located right here in Fayette County. Call 724-329-8501 and book your free tour today. For 35 years, Fay Penn Economic Development Council has been committed to its mission of growing Fayette County's economy and helping to bring jobs to the area. Whether you're a startup, existing, or new business in Fayette County, Fay Penn's lending team can work with you to decide if the Fay Penn Loan Fund suits your business's needs. Fay Penn's Loan Fund offers loans starting at $10,000, pending qualifications. Visit faypenn.org to learn more about financing opportunities for your business and to complete a pre-application form.
Doug Saltzman, Nick Barczyk with the Afternoon Drive Show. The late edition, we're with you till 8:30 tonight. The Pit, of course, will be playing Duke, the Blue Devils, tonight at home at the Peterson Event Center in Oakland on the Pitt campus. But before that, right at 8:15, we're going to check in with Chris Moore. He's been on radio and TV, the Moore of Pittsburgh radio show. We won't mention what radio station it is, but he's also an Emmy winner. And so we'll be talking to him about his career. He's got one show left. But joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line. Now, it took some negotiation to get him on this show today. He just arrived in Bradenton today. His agent said that he needs to unpack first before he'll join us on air. But we did work through those negotiations, Nick. So joining us right now,
Thank
the
goodness.
voice of the Pirates, Greg Brown. Greg, how are you?
Well, there's some truth to that, actually. Not that I had an agent, but unpacking has gotten to be, it's taking me, I got here yesterday, and it's taken me almost 2 full days to unpack and get situated. I guess what happens when you get old.
You got there yesterday, and we had to wait till today to talk to you? See,
Oh,
that's
man.
not what's my understanding. I thought we were going to get you right off the boat.
How about that? An exclusive. You guys are the first ones. This is my first on-air interview of February 2026.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that, Doug. You beat the other affiliates.
How about that?
You'll get a
Spring
raise.
training, too, in the dead of winter. Although we got spring temperatures here. It was up to the mid-50s here today in Southwest.
I heard,
PA.
my gosh.
60 degrees.
Just when I leave. I hate when that happens. I prefer it gets colder when I leave, not warmer.
Yeah, it has definitely been cold. So yeah, but you have that nice thing. Most people go on Florida on vacation. You're going to Florida to work, and that's not a bad gig, I guess. But it is a long year, is it not? When you're calling 162 games, you add in I don't know how many more you're going to be doing in preseason. You're talking 180 games or more. That's a lot of games to call, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm not going to complain about it because it's really not work, but it is. It's a grind. I will say that it's a grind, and I had a lot of people asking me if I was ready to head down there, and aside from the weather, I'm not fond of leaving home for what's going to be about 7 weeks, and to begin this long journey. What does excite me more than the last few years is the fact that the team is really good, and then that'll definitely help. But I was just looking at we just got our spring training broadcast schedule issued yesterday by the boss man, and I'm just looking over all the games, and my first game is the first game be on radio on Saturday the 21st against the Orioles in Sarasota, and then we have a radio and TV game the next day, Sunday at home against the Rays. So I'm looking over that. I've got my new score books. I have new ones made every year, and I do some tweaks, and I get as many publications, either online or actually in person. Go to the bookstore and get whatever baseball magazines are left these days. But yeah, it's the grind. It's what we do, and I'm anxious to get back to. Even though I know it's a long season, as you mentioned, Doug, 162 games. We do all. I think 30 preseason games. I'll do maybe half of them, and it's fun. It's fun to get back. And I was at the clubhouse yesterday, picking up the luggage that I had sent down early with the truck, and got a chance to see some of the clubhouse guys and a couple of the coaches, and so yeah, it's fun to get going again.
I have to ask Greg, and I'm sure you know Bob. Do you use the world famous Bob Carpenter scorebooks, or do you make your own? What's your scorecard look like?
No, Bob has never tried to sell me those scorecards.
I love those scorebooks he makes. You need to get in that business, Greg.
I've going back to my minor league days, have been tweaking, trying to make the perfect scorebook for 35 years or so. And every year I go into a local, it used to be Kinko's, now it's like a FedEx, and their eyes roll when they see me walk in, and I tell them what the size of the scorebook, and what I prefer in terms of the innings and the extra, where I want the umpires line to go, where I want the baseball diagram, how deep the diagram should be, and it's crazy. But it's my security blanket, and it's kind of my Bible. So it's important to me. It's
livelihood.
If I can't do a game without my scorebook.
It's one of those great things, and it sounds kind of corny, but my dad taught me how to score a game, and he then I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandfather had a different way of doing things, and he said, no, you see, that's a strikeout. The K has to be backwards. I remember my dad and my grandfather having a discussion about that. I guess my dad circled the K when somebody when somebody took a third called strike. And a swinging strike was just a straight K. So it's one of those crazy things. And when Nick and I go to ball games, Nick, you still score the games.
Well, Greg, as your old colleague Lanny Terry says, I can't just go to a baseball game and sit there. And I agree with Lanny. I have to keep score at the game.
Right. And I don't always score it based on what the official score says. If I think it's an error, I'm putting it at error in my scorebook. Yeah, I'm not going with the official scorebook.
Well, it's funny because the handful of games that if we have a radio only game. Depending on if we're home or road, Joe Block and I will determine, what we want to do and who will work the game. And I usually take the road radio games off. I love being on the road with the team in that stadium and me maybe in the hotel pub watching the game. But most times I'll go to my room. I can't do it. I have to go to my room and maybe watch the game on the local affiliate and sit there and keep score. It's just I can't help myself.
Once it gets in your blood, it's never going out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've got a stack of scorecards. In 1979, I was in high school. My buddies and I went to 20 games that year with student tickets. I was probably spending $4 a ticket, which was all my newspaper and grass mowing money. But I have those games I scored from back then. And I went back, and they used to give you that scorecards for free when you walked into the stadium. I don't think they do that anymore.
No.
But I still have a lot of those. So off the topic of the Pirates, of course, with their upcoming season, got some sad news the other day about the team, I think, and it's had some negative comments made. It looks like it's McCutcheon's last year. He has played his last game with the Pirates. Did that come as a surprise to you?
Well, first of all, that's not official. But,
right. I said it looks like. That's why I said.
Yeah. They had actually a Zoom. Today was Zoom Media Day throughout Major League Baseball in Florida and Arizona, and all the media getting a chance to talk to their respective managers and general managers. So we talked to Donnie Kelly and Ben Cherington, and Ben was asked about that, and he said he'll never close the book on Andrew. So, maybe in my heart of hearts, I'm thinking, even if he doesn't begin the season with the team, who knows? Down the road in the summer, maybe he stays in shape and a spot comes open and wouldn't it be something if second half of the year he comes in riding the white horse and saving the day and a return? So I'm hopeful, but I've spoken to several groups over the winter, and that question has come up over the last few months, and I've said, it's never easy in any sport, an aging superstar. What do you do? Nobody's wrong. Andrew thinks he can contribute and continue to play. The team is looking to improve, and maybe there's not a spot for this aging superstar. What you don't want to have happen is bitter feelings to end up creeping in to this equation. And so I hope that, cooler heads prevail. I hope, even if Andrew does play, maybe not for the Pirates, maybe he plays for another team for a while and maybe they acquire him. I don't know. I guess I don't like to think that it's over completely. That somehow, some way, he'll return in some capacity.
The closest thing I compare this to, I remember when the Chief, Art Rooney Sr., said it was the saddest day when Franco Harris left the team and played for another team his final year in football.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course he was a Steeler after that. Didn't play, but he was always a member of the Steelers.
What's interesting too, Doug, is for all the people that have argued with me over these many years about wanting the designated hitter to come into the National League. And I have heard very few people argue with me now, by the way. They said it was going to improve offense in the National League. That was one of the big arguments. You can't have a pitcher bat. It's an automatic out. And you think the offense has improved in the National League because of they don't use the DH anymore? No, I don't think so. But the other thing about it is that, I'm old enough to have been around when when Willie Stargell was ending his career. He was probably playing even the last couple of years beyond maybe when he should have, but he wanted to hang on, and he could because you needed a pinch hitter. you could have that extra spot on your bench, but they don't have that anymore. And so for a guy that can't play the field, and Andrew really can't, I mean, he's tried, and it's noble of him, but he can't play the outfield much anymore. Ideally, he'd be a nice little pinch hitter off the bench, but they don't have that anymore.
Right.
And that was, it got bitter, by the way, with Willie. His going away present, I happen to be involved in that, it did not satisfy him or his agent. And it got really bad between the Pirates and Willie, and he ended up going with Chuck Tanner down to Atlanta.
Yeah, who would think
his first
Willie
base
Stargell
coach.
would be Atlanta?
Yeah, and it really took Dave Parker, the late Hall of Famer now, Dave Parker, to help mend the defense there with the ill feelings. He got Kevin McClatchy to reach out to Willie to bring him back into the organization. Unfortunately, Willie got ill and passed away opening day 2001, but was with the team as an assistant for a couple years. And anyway, back to the point. It's in every sport. You mentioned Franco Harris. It happens a lot. Different teams, different sports. What you do with an aging superstar, it's very, very difficult.
Well, Greg, let's dive in 2026 and first full year for manager Don Kelly, and Paul Skeens is back. They acquired some names in the offseason. Ozuna just the other day. If general outlook, take as much time as you want. Offense, defense, pitching. What's your outlook on the team going into spring training?
Well, they only have to, if they scored 4 or more runs last year, they were like 25 games over 500. Yeah. Someone told me the other day that all they had to do was score 0.6 more runs a game, 0.6 more runs a game, and they would have a winning record. So they go out and get, they make the trade with Tampa Bay, and they get Brandon Lau, an all-star, 30 homers, left-handed hitter. They get Jake Mangum, a speedy switch-hitting outfielder who hit 300 as a rookie last year. They got a hard-throwing lefty and Mason Montgomery in that trade. They dealt Mike Burrows to Houston in that 3-team deal. And then they get Ryan O'Hearn, an all-star with the Orioles, and finished the last season with San Diego, another left-handed hitter, power guy. And then they also signed Gregory Soto, a hard-throwing left-handed pitcher, as a reliever, $7.5 million for 1 year. And then they haven't made it official, but apparently a 2-year deal, 1 year with a club option for bringing in Marcell Ozuna, another former All-Star who is a 30-plus home run guy, and he's a right-handed hitter, and he'll be, there's that designated hitter that had been Andrew McCutchen's spot for the last 3 years, but that'll be Marcell Ozuna on most nights. So that's a pretty big lift in a short amount of time in one off season to improve that offense. And I think with those additions, my pick to click this year is O'Neal Cruz. Mm-hmm. I think that down in the order and with not having to feel like he's got to hit a home run every time up, I think he's going to have a monster season because now he's protected. Brian Reynolds will be the Brian Reynolds we're used to seeing. And all these guys, that lineup is stretched out now. There are no automatic outs like there had been. Even if it ends up being Jared Triolo at third, Nick Gonzalez, who was an outstanding college hitter, the best college hitter in the draft in 2020, and we saw signs of it last year. When he's healthy, especially the second half of last year, he's still relatively young. Even if he is a placeholder at shortstop, say, for Connor Griffin, who's the top prospect in all of baseball coming into the season, being compared to guys like Mike Trout at the age of 19, and Jared Triolo, who had a tremendous, if you look at his numbers, I'm a big Triolo fan. He's a gold glover, outstanding defensively.
Great glove, my gosh.
This August and September, he was tremendous. I mean, we saw the power. He's not a 30-homer guy, but I think he's close to a 20-homer guy who could drive in as many as, maybe 70 runs. And again, he will benefit by all these guys that are now veterans in that lineup. I just think overall, and people are swearing to me that Henry Davis may not hit 300, but he's not going to hit 210. That he's going to he's already made massive adjustments this offseason, and they really trust that Henry Davis is going to figure it out. So I don't know that they're going to win 100 games, but I think that saying that they could win, given this pitching staff, I don't think 90 is out of the realm of possibility. If health is always an issue, but they also, to Ben Cherington's credit, he's also made deals to improve the depth on this team. He got the Justinson Garcia, the password, in the deal with the Red Sox. That was really his first trade of the winter. One of their top prospects, a right-handed hitter who's young, who may not begin the year at the major league level, but won't be long before he's patrolling the outfield, one of those 3 outfield positions. So I think they've got a lot going for them. I would love to see him get one more starting pitcher. I don't think he's done yet, talking about Ben Cherington. I think if he got one more starter, I would absolutely, of all the things he's done this winter, I know he's still out there. Jose Quintana is one of my all-time favorites. If they got him, that would solidify maybe the best off-season, certainly of his Pirates tenure, and one of the best off-seasons of any GM in recent Pirate memory. But Jose Quintana would be icing on the cake for me.
Right, and we just have about 2 minutes left, but talking about that pitching staff, we know how great Skeens is, but how good can the staff be? You look at Chandler, you look at Keller. What's Jared Jones' status, if you have any word on him? How good can the staff be overall, apart from Skeens?
Well, they were so good last year, and they're only going to get better with experience. The one thing I do, now they got Jose Urquidy, who Ben Cherington thinks that after 2 years had the Tommy John and come off that, the arm injury rather, and was really good with Houston up until that time, and they think that he's back and healthy again and could really contribute for depth in that rotation. But I would love to see them again, because the one thing I'm leery of is relying so much on Skeens. Just because he's done it for 2 years doesn't mean it's a guarantee. What he's done is phenomenal, and everybody's expecting him to be as good, if not better. But boy, that's a high bar. Jared Jones, you mentioned. I don't know whether he comes back in May or June, but he's going to be limited, I'm sure, upon his return. And you got Mitch Keller, who's the veteran of the group. I think Carmen Majinski could end up going back into that rotation. Braxton Ashcraft was outstanding last year. Bubba Chandler, some are anticipating he could be Rookie of the Year in 2026. They've got really good talent. They don't have a ton of innings among all of them. That's why I like Urquidy, a veteran. And again, I keep stressing, I'd love to see him add one more veteran starting pitcher.
Greg Brown joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show, the late edition. Greg, thanks so much. Your first interview of the on-air interview of spring training, and we're okay if you talk to folks at other stations. So feel free to do that. Our feelings will be hurt. Yeah, but they're always going to be second.
Now I'm allowed to. You mean?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we have no problem with that.
And we'll be hearing you on the spring training reports, Greg, bright and early in the morning.
That's right.
Can't wait.
Yeah. That's right. We'll be back.
Can't wait, buddy. Have fun down there, all right?
All righty.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Greg. What a great guy. I had about 30 more questions for him, but we're out of time.
We're out of time. That's right. We're about 30 seconds away from the CBS News at 8 o'clock. We're with you till 8:30 tonight. We have Pitt basketball pregame show starts at 8:30. We're going to talk to the Moore of Pittsburgh, Chris Moore, longtime radio show host. Has one more show left on another station, but he's going to be on our station. He's done TV, he's done radio, he's been a reporter, you name it. We're going to talk to him at about 8:15 to congratulate him. But first, news is next.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. New photos and videos were released today showing a person in a ski mask and gloves on Nancy Guthrie's porch on the day she disappeared. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti tells us he messed with her doorbell cam.
The FBI says Guthrie's Nest camera was disabled at 1:47 a.m. 41 minutes later, her pacemaker app disconnects from her phone, which was left behind along with a trail of blood.
Right after the footage was released, Savannah Guthrie reposted the images on her Instagram with a message saying, "We believe she is still alive. Bring her home." A congressional hearing is taking up the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Democrat Eric Swalwell questioned ICE acting director Todd Lyons.
God, I hope at least one person has been fired for their conduct since these operations have begun. Are you telling us you can't even say one person's been fired?
Sir, I'm not going to talk about personnel actions, but we will get back to you.
A teen girl says she was zip-tied by law enforcement during an October raid on a horse racing track in Idaho. Correspondent Matt Gutman is following the story.
I spoke to Suhey Tello. She's 14, probably around 5'1", 100 and some pounds. And she said that multiple agents forced her out of her car. She asked who they were, why they were detaining her. She says she didn't get a response. She says they threw her to the ground, and we saw bruises, images of her bruising.
The raid was targeting an alleged illegal gambling ring. More than 300 American citizens and 100 undocumented immigrants were taken into custody. Newly unsealed documents tell us more about a raid on an election center in Fulton County, Georgia. Reporter Jake Rosen with details.
According to the affidavit, the Bureau is investigating potential violations of 2 criminal laws. One of those laws makes it a crime for election officials to intimidate voters and to deprive them of a fair election by submitting fraudulent ballots or voter registration applications, and the other law requires election officials to retain federal election records for 22 months.
New Russian strikes in Ukraine. Officials say 4 people were killed, a 34-year-old man along with 3 young children. A U.S. brokered peace deal to end the war is still ongoing, although the Kremlin says no date has been set yet for the next round of talks. A Super Bowl ad got a lot of reaction after claiming rich people live longer. So do they? CBS medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder says it's true.
Research shows that men in the top 1% of income live about 15 years longer than men in the bottom 1%. For women, it's about a 10-year gap. That's not a rounding error. That's an entire extra decade of life.
She says the ad isn't wrong about the problem. It's wrong about the solution. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to CBS Mornings on the go on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
In 1986, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville was started with a promise to provide clients with truthful, friendly, and courteous service. It worked. With an expanded client base, the Firestone Insurance Agency's customers are now able to choose from over 20 well-known insurance companies. So whether it be auto, home, business, or life, Firestone has you covered, and the promise to provide truthful, friendly, and courteous service is still in place. As an independent insurance agency, the Firestone Insurance Agency works for you. They do the shopping for you to save you time and a bunch of needless phone calls. Because let's face it, no one loves to shop for insurance. Call the office at 724-455-3900 or visit firestoneinsurance.net. Can't make it to Normalville? Let the Firestone Insurance Agency bring service right to your kitchen table. The Firestone Insurance Agency, 724-455-3900 or firestoneinsurance.net. Doing what is right for the customer, finding the most affordable rates while making sure there are no coverage gaps so you are fully protected from the unforeseen.
American optimism is way down, says CBS's Jim Crisolo.
The number of Americans who expect they will have, quote, high-quality life in the years ahead has dropped to a 2-decade low, according to a new Gallup poll. 6 in 10 people surveyed said they expected their lives would be significantly better in the future than today. That's considerably lower than even during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The latest federal dietary guidelines on alcohol are very confusing to some. They dropped the long-standing rule that limited alcohol to 1 drink a day for women and 2 for men. Instead, health officials now simply urge people to consume less alcohol for better overall health and leave it up to individuals to decide what that means for them. Some experts are concerned about this because they say the science shows even moderate drinking carries risks, including effects on the brain and heart, and the new guidance doesn't spell out specific limits like it used to. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
We Chestnut Ridge Christian Academy. We learn, laugh, and grow together. We shine in academics. We serve others and keep Christ at the center. With small classes, caring teachers. School feels like family.
Registration opens in March. Join us for our open house on March 19th or schedule a tour anytime.
Come meet our teachers, see our classrooms, and discover what makes CRCA such a special place.
Visit crcapa.org or follow us on Facebook for more information.
Valentine's Day is coming up, and nothing says Be My Valentine quite like flowers from Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop. Choose from fresh floral arrangements starting at just $30 or classic roses starting at $55 a dozen. Want to really impress? Call early and have Valentine's flowers delivered right to her workplace. Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop in Smithfield. Open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 5. Call 724-564-2696.
Your local station, 590 and 101.1 W266DB, WMBS Uniontown on a Tuesday night, 8:06. And outside of our Davis and Davis studios in Uniontown, we're right now at 49 degrees. Very unseasonably warm day with the overnight low at 32. Chance for flurries tomorrow, though, only up to 35 and back into the 50s for this weekend. And we will talk to Chris Moore on the afternoon drive show with Doug Saltzman. And then we have Pitt basketball hosting Duke tonight, 8:30 with the pregame game at 9 on WMBS. But one more Olympic update for the evening. We go out to Milan as the Winter Olympics are ongoing in Italy. And after we talk to Greg Brown in Florida, let's go to Europe for this Winter Olympic update on WMBS.
This 2026 Winter Olympic Update is brought to you by Koval Building Supply, more than just your local plumbing store. Located at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown and offering the supplies and expertise you need for your next home improvement project.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. This storyline to Tuesday, U.S. medals won in sports that don't usually produce hardware, like men's cross-country skiing. There was a U.S. silver in 1976. That's been it until today, when Vermont native Ben Ogden also won a silver in the individual sprint. In curling, no American medals until that shocking gold 8 years ago, and now a U.S. silver in the mixed event. It was a near gold, a late lead until Sweden prevailed 6-5. For only the third time ever, a U.S. medal in an individual luge event. Ashley Farquharson in the women's singles. A great win for the U.S. in women's hockey, 5-0 over arch rival Canada. The disappointment of the day, Michaela Schifrin's continued Olympic disappointments. She'll try again on Sunday in the giant slalom. With this Winter Games update, John Stashour, Westwood One Sports.
Looking to tackle your next excavation project? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is more than your plumbing supply store. We're your local source for excavation essentials. From culverts and drainage pipes to the materials you need, we've got you covered. Whether managing water flow, improving drainage, or preparing a site, our knowledgeable team can help you. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com to start planning for the spring. Koval Building Supply, everything you need to build it right from the ground up.
This 2026 Winter Olympics Update was brought to you by Koval Building Supply of Uniontown, your local source for tank and tankless gas water heaters. When you need efficiency and affordability, call Koval at 724-437-8824.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States is right here in Fayette County. Don't miss your chance to tour Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture that's included on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Falling Water invites you to Fayette County Appreciation Day on Sunday, March 22nd, as they offer free tours for all Fayette County residents. Book your free tour of Falling Water in advance by calling 724-329-8501. Tours will take place between 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Sunday, March 22nd. Be sure to make your reservation in advance and don't miss your chance to tour Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture located right here in Fayette County. Call 724-329-8501 and book your free tour today.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. We're still on the air, the afternoon drive show. This is the late edition. I think the latest I've ever done an afternoon drive show was 9 o'clock before a Pirate pregame.
That's pretty late.
Yeah. But
Put on the coffee for the West Coast game.
Yeah,
it's not a West Coast game tonight, but they're starting the game in Pittsburgh at 9 o'clock. Thanks, ESPN.
Oh yeah, that's good that the Panthers are on ESPN.
Oh yeah,
they're not
Duke.
having the best of seasons, but it's good to get that place, especially to go up against Duke, which I'm guessing they're the underdog. I'm not sure about
Pitt,
that.
yes, they are.
I'm guessing they're their underdog on that one. But we want to thank Greg Brown and everybody for joining us here. It's been we haven't talked to him since the end of last season.
Yes, as he begins his grind of announcing baseball games. He's a real coal miner, Greg. No, we love Greg.
And he admitted, he said, listen, I can't complain. I don't have a real job.
No, but it's got to be a grind. You're right. When you're preparing every day to be on, when you're on the air every day for 4 hours, it's a grind.
Well, that too, and he's constantly on the road. I mean, this guy packs and unpacks. I mean, I think I had a job where the one year I flew 70 times. I had set a record for Blue Cross. I was a lobbyist for them, and somebody made a little certificate for me. Wow. Nobody ever flown that much.
Well, that's nothing, says Steve Futterman. 70's nothing. Yes. That's an easy.
And I was going to the same cities all the time. But Greg Brown has to realize, okay, did I pack enough clothes? How long is this road trip?
Right.
You know, it's not like I'll send my laundry out. By the time it's done, he'd be on the road going to the next city.
And he's got to wake up some mornings like, am I in Denver or are we still in California?
But he's flying on the team plane. He's not flying commercial. He's not going into, it's a simpler process,
and
but
just
still.
prepping every day, the scorebook and talking to Donnie Kelly every day and the same players every day.
Right.
They got to get annoyed of him now. I mean, it's a dream job.
And it's, and they haven't been good for a long time.
No, in my lifetime, they've had 3 seasons where they won more games than they lost. They've not won a playoff series in my lifetime, and I'm not the youngest. I'm not a high school kid anymore. So, yeah, it's been a struggle.
And that's why Nick was kidding that he kept wanting to ask Greg Brown questions because he knew I'd ask questions about the 1970s.
I wanted to ask a question about Connor Griffin, and Doug said, what position in the lineup did he bat in 79? No, he's 18. He's on the team now.
That's right.
He's 21.
That's right. Sorry about that.
No, you like nostalgia. I do too, but I like the current players more.
6 division titles and 2 World Series in the 70s.
Right.
They just won. You knew they were going to win. Even 72, they had the best team ever, and they didn't win.
Right.
But
we have to stay current.
Yeah, that's you're right. But
I love nostalgia and history.
It was a heck of a time to be a fan in Pittsburgh.
Right.
If you were a kid, Steelers for Super Bowls. The Penguins weren't very good, but you could get really cheap tickets. I think we used to get like $4 student tickets to go to Penguin games.
There you go.
In the old Civic Arena, even before they expanded it. You know who I've been trying to get on the show, and we'll keep working on? Bill Hillgrove.
Oh, the legend, yeah.
Yeah, because Bill...
he's working tonight, I'm sure.
There were limits before because he was doing Steeler games, and that's another network. But now we air of course, the Pitt games, and he's not beholden and blah, 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 blah. So we're going to see if we can get him on sometime to talk.
He's not beholden.
Yeah.
He can come on. I know what you meant. Yeah, I just like that.
So... well, hopefully we'll have a chance to talk with him.
He doesn't have an exclusivity anymore.
How about this crazy story about Pitt women's basketball players filed a lawsuit against the coach for inappropriate behavior and abusive behavior, and that was a shock when I saw that. I guess I don't follow Pitt women's basketball. I didn't even realize who the coach was. I knew Agnes Baronato back in the day when she coached Pitt.
Right?
Yeah, she brought them their first time they made the tournament. And oddly enough, her son and my nephew were good buddies. They played basketball together at Central Catholic. And then she was replaced by Susie McConnell, the local legend who won played for Penn State and won the Big Ten. She won gold.
TJ was in the NBA Finals.
And I guess I hadn't followed him since. She was the Duquesne's coach at one point as well. And appreciate you joining us today for a long show. We'll be back tomorrow. Got some guests already lined up for tomorrow. We're going to check in with Rob Owen. He is the TV writer for the Tribune Review, triblive.com. We're going to talk to him about not the coverage of the Olympics, but the economic impact that the Olympics has on NBC, what it does. Of course, they had to shut down their normal programming for 2 weeks, what it does to local affiliates, that sort of thing. So all that we'll be talking about that coming up tomorrow. And also, we talked 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, about the ongoing problem with nursing homes hiring people. There's been some legislation introduced. We talked to the Nursing Home Association about that, and Senator Argel is the state senator who introduced that legislation. We promised to have him on, and he wasn't available then. So we're going to have him on tomorrow at 5:35 to talk about the ongoing efforts to get more people working at nursing homes, because it's really a real tough issue, to say the very least. So those are the two issues, among others, we'll be talking about tomorrow. We're on air tomorrow night until 8 p.m. As I mentioned earlier, the local the term legend is often overused. It could be national legends, local legends, that sort of thing. And a lot of people, media is a tough business to be, and I've been lucky to be doing this show now for 12 years here on WMBS. But there aren't many people in southwestern Pennsylvania, in the greater Pittsburgh area, who've had a career like our next guest. And joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line, media personality who has announced his final show will be on, and we don't often mention other radio stations, but we'll say tonight, KDKA. That'll be coming up on February 15th. And joining us, Chris Moore. Chris, first off, congratulations on a great career, and congratulations on your retirement. As I mentioned to you earlier when I was talking to you and your missus off the air, is your wife ready to have you home full time? I guess that's the one negotiation you had to work out first, correct?
Well, she's kind of had me home full time every day but one day for the past 6 months or so. So we're getting in a practice run.
So you've eased into it. I see. Well, that makes I can see that makes sense. But for more than 30 years, you've been on the air in Pittsburgh. Some folks call you a media institution. That's different than going into an institution, I suppose. A media institution sounds better, I suppose. But yeah, your career really has been varied, and it's interesting. I was talking to somebody that I was going to have you on the show, and I've interviewed you on this show before. You've interviewed me on that radio station you've been at. You interviewed me on, let's see, PCNC, the Pittsburgh Cable News Channel, when you did the show there, the More of Pittsburgh, and even on WQED, On Cue and Off Cue, those TV shows. I've been on to be interviewed by you. So I can't imagine how many, and I've done over 3,500 interviews over the years on this show. I can't imagine. Do you have any idea how many interviews you've conducted in your career?
I've never counted.
We're talking tens of thousands, I would think. If you've done it full time, I've always done this part time. But yeah, your More of Pittsburgh radio show has been around a long time, and I always enjoyed your TV show too. I thought that was a nice thing. I guess they don't do those anymore on the Pittsburgh Cable News Channel, but there aren't a lot of local TV anymore, and I think that's a shame. What say you on that?
I think that's a shame too. We're not reaching out to the local community to do shows about the local community. And most of the shows that I have done over the years have been about just that, on Black Horizons, on PCNC, on KDK Radio. Most of these shows have been about the local community so that people know what's going on in that community.
Yeah. And you've done like every level of it. You started in your hometown of Little Rock, Arkansas. You were in St. Louis. Before you came to Pittsburgh, you were a street reporter, TV and radio. When you look back on it, I mean, it's one of those simple questions to ask, but what's the biggest change beyond technology? Of course, it's changed so much. But what would you say from the days you first started in 1972 as a camera operator in St. Louis, besides the technology changes, what's the biggest change in reporting on radio and TV that you've seen? Good or bad, I suppose.
Well, I think some of the bad things are how, how many of these young reporters are forced to do reports live on the air and reports on the web and so many other reports that they never finish reporting. When I started reporting, people did a half-hour newscast. That was it. They got up, they went to lunch, they came back at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and they did another report, and that was it. Now they're working these people like government news. So that's one of the bad parts about what's happening today.
Yeah, I think back in the day when I was working for the U.S. Senate, I worked for Arlen Specter, who you interviewed on your shows over the years, and we would monitor what coverage he would get before you could do that more simply on the internet. And of course, okay, there was maybe a half-hour news in the morning, or before Captain Kangaroo came on, or a noon news, or a 6 to 7 o'clock. After a while, I think some of the local stations now might have 8 hours of local news on, 2.5 hours in the morning, maybe an hour at noon. They've got, and I mean, you add all this together. I guess there's money to be made in it. They wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't money to be made. But yeah, the reports are endless anymore, and it's not just live on the news. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go right
ahead. There may be money to be made, but if you watch these reports, most of the time they're repeating themselves. I don't see much difference in the 4 o'clock news and the 5 o'clock news and the 6 o'clock news. They tell the same stories, and it's just over and over. And also, I think they spend more time promoting their newscasts than they do telling you the news.
Well, no, I agree with that. And I don't just say this because I do radio, but I don't tune into a lot of the local news. I know what a fire looks like, a car crash looks like. I can get the weather on my phone. I don't need a 7.5-minute weather report. And I'm always amazed that weather used to be the last thing you tuned into. You'd had 20 minutes of news, 5 minutes of sports, and 5 minutes of weather. And that seemed to be the half-hour newscast back in the day. But so much of it now starts with everything is breaking news. Like, no, if it happened 12 hours ago, that's not breaking news. I don't care if you still have somebody on the scene. You know, when you have somebody, when you're showing breaking news and it's daylight and you're reporting at 11 o'clock at night, that loses the breaking news thing. That's always sort of shocks me. And just, do people fall for it, I guess? We're the only station with a breaking news desk, one TV station will say. I'm like, well, you can break news from the break room at your radio station, or your TV station. You don't need a special desk. I think some of that stuff just seems phony to me. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, I think you're right. Again, it's the same newscast that they did a half hour ago. And as they repeat it, the more they repeat it, the more dull I think the audience becomes, because you've seen this once before. You've seen the crash on the interstate since early in the morning, and they're still broadcasting it in the evening. And so, again, over and over and over, the same reports. Yeah. And it's really not breaking news.
When you talk about your time at WQED TV, of course, the public station, Channel 13, at one point you were even on Channel 16. You hosted On Cue. You hosted another show called Off Cue. You hosted Black Horizons. At WQED, the staff there is a fraction of what it once was. They don't have those local shows anymore as much as they used. I don't even know if they have a local show anymore. That's a shame when you see that happen to public television. Of course, Channel 13 was the first public television station in the nation. When you talk about someone like Fred Rogers being there, talk about legends. It's a shame that public television has changed so much.
Well, I think so. Fred Rogers was a hero of mine, and he was just the gentlest soul, and he could teach you some things, and he taught me how to tie a bow tie in the bathroom once.
I could see that. Yeah.
And he was just the gentlest of all souls. He was a gentleman and a scholar, and he had a sense of humor too.
Yeah, he would testify before Congress about funding for PBS and other things, and we were down there one time, and I didn't go to D.C. a lot when I worked for Arlen Specter, but the one time we're walking through the Capitol, and me and Arlen Specter, Fred Rogers, he was on his way to testify, and here comes Senator Ted Kennedy the other direction, walking very fast as he always did, and he had staff with him, and he stopped. He looked up and said Arlen, and Arlen said Ted. And then all of a sudden, you could see the look in Ted Kennedy's eyes. He realized the other person with him, not me, but Fred Rogers. And he stopped, and he looked at him and he said, "Mr. Rogers, I'm Ted." And suddenly he was 12 years old. But that was sort of the impact that Fred Rogers would have. "Mr. Rogers, I'm Ted." And it was sort of funny, that impact that he would have.
First time I met him, it was like 5:30 and everybody was leaving the building, and there was a man standing with his back to me at the elevator, and I walked up and I punched the button too, and I said, "Oh, you're Fred Rogers. Oh my goodness. Hello, how are you? My name is Chris Moore. I just started working here." He said, "Hi, how are you today?" And
yeah, they talk are people like they really are in real life, like you see them on TV. And they said,
he would reduce us all to being children.
Yeah, and they always say never meet your heroes because they don't turn out the way you want them to be. You could meet Mr. Rogers, and he was exactly the way you thought he would be because that's how he was. And I think that's the way you are. And I've met you in person in social settings. We've had lunch together. We've talked off the air together. So, again, what an honor it is to have this opportunity to congratulate you on your career. I don't tell our bosses around here, but I'll be listening to your show, your last show coming up on KDKA. Maybe I'll even call in and congratulate you. But we'd love to have you back on this show, get your thoughts on things. Maybe you couldn't say when you were doing the other stuff, but we'd love to have you back on here, get your thoughts.
I've never bit my tongue about any of these things. For instance, I love WQED for at least airing most of the documentaries that I have produced there and finding the worth of them. They could have just stacked them on a shelf somewhere and not run them, but they run them quite often, particularly some of the veterans programs and any of the other programs that circulate around some of the holidays. So I'm just grateful that WQED continues to see the value of those shows and runs them.
Yeah, Nick, our producer, who's joining me in studio here, and I were at the Penguin game last week on the Penguins Black History Hockey game night, Black History Night, and they honored a number of local folks. I kept waiting for you to pop up. I wish we would have seen you there that night, but we were happy to do our little part here and honor you tonight. So congratulations, Chris, and to you and your Mrs. Joyce, and on a great career. We look forward to having you back on the show. Look forward to hearing you this Sunday night for your last show. So congratulations. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you. I'm honored that you chose me to be interviewed on your program.
All right. Have a good evening. Thanks so much.
You too.
Chris Moore joining us here. I think that's the only time maybe and WMBS history, I'm talking about another radio station and a show.
Then let's keep it at that.
That's right.
But if we ever get our buddy Sean McDowell on, maybe we'll have to mention the station he worked for.
He was on. I've tried to get Sean McDowell on. He's traveling the country, man. I don't know where he is.
Who knows?
He's at someone's grave, some rock and roller we're talking about.
He's at a rest stop that Jimi Hendrix stopped at.
Yeah,
he's
somewhere.
visiting
That's right.
Janis Joplin's hairdresser.
Yeah, there's something like that in the middle of nowhere. But no, congrats to Chris Moore. What a career he's had.
Great guy, seems like.
One more show he's got on that other station.
All right,
that we don't mention.
Sunday, great. I'll listen.
Night, maybe I'll give him a call in. But yeah, I've interviewed him on this show a few times. I've been interviewed by him on a show on WQED called On Cue, another show called Off Cue.
Really on cue and off cue.
On cue and off cue.
Real shows.
That's right. A TV show he did, The More of Pittsburgh, was on PCNC, Pittsburgh Cable News Channel. So yeah, Chris and I go back, and a good guy really has have played a pivotal role in getting a lot of African Americans involved in media, especially through his work on some of those shows and also on the Black Media Federation and other groups. There's a scholarship name for him. I'm sorry, an internship name for him as well. Time to, I guess, Pitt basketball tonight. I almost said Pitt football. Coming up, pregame show.
Oh, my God.
Pitt football. I just said again, Pitt basketball time. I was thrown by Chris Moore there, folks. It was a great honor having him.
These
on
shows
the show.
are too long. We can't give Doug 3-hour shows anymore.
I'm losing it.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing this tomorrow night too. But Pitt basketball tonight. They're at home at the Peterson Event Center in Oakland, taking on the Duke Blue Devils. Enjoy the game. I'm Doug. That's Nick. Have a good night.
It's the Pit Panther pregame show. This pregame show on the Pit Radio Network is brought to you by